Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, the show where we talk about new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons from both Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG. We cover 20 new titles from each of those sites. This is not a review show, as we have not looked at any of these products in full, so please venture into them at your own discretion. We do include alphabetical links to all of the titles shown in this video in the video description. So if you want to help the channel, please use those links to purchase these titles. You can also support by purchasing one of our books, two of which are shown on screen right now, and those are also linked in our video description. Please subscribe and share the video as well. It helps the channel and all of the creators in today's episode. Note, I was interviewed on the Dungeons and Dinners podcast. If you'd like to hear that, head on over to my Twitter at Splitterverse and take a listen. Alright, this week's episode is focused on titles released between July 9th and the 15th of 2021. And please stay tuned all the way to the end, because we've got a little bit of everything from modules to, as you can see here, trinkets, races, you name it, for OSR, 5e, Pathfinder, even Mork Borg. So stay tuned all the way to the end so you can see every little bit of what's been released this past week. Alright, we'll start first with 101 Nautical Trinkets by David Stevens. It's $1. It's 10 pages on the Dungeon Masters Guild. It introduces 101 new nautical trinkets that you can use for seaport towns, ongoing vessel, or even a pirate ship. They're inspired by all things nautical. They bring an additional layer of depth to anyone running a maritime-themed campaign, such as Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Many of the trinkets and curiosities are designed as plot devices to inspire side quests and one-shot adventures. So let's take a look inside. So you got the nice little pirate ship on the front there. And then we'll look at some of these trinkets here. You're getting to see 4 of the 10 pages. So you've got a small locked hinged chest filled with love letters written to a dead man, and a red leather satchel filled with the personal papers of Lord 𝙤𝙤𝙘, a map of an island that is said to be at the edge of the world. Legend has it that great riches and a terrible death can be found on the island. So yeah, see, that's a good plot hook. Can't really have too many plot hooks, or even just use it as a trinket. A tangled mass of fish nets that would take days to untangle. A human skull found on a deserted island. So all sorts of stuff, some cool art in here. I like that particular picture, it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you're looking for something to do with nautical, even just more trinkets. I mean, you don't even have to have a nautical campaign to use these trinkets. Trinkets are always useful. Never know when something will be found on a corpse after, a battle. So maybe the person traveled on the sea and they have some of this stuff. So 101 of them. You get to see, I think, how many was that? Let's see. You get to see about 20 of them in the preview. So check them out. See if you like it on DM's Guild. Next we have Aloysius' Guide to Social Acceptance Volume 1. It's already an Electrum seller, even though it just came out this week. It's from Christopher Zito, Brian Olvera, and it's got 10 5-star ratings. It's a personal passion project to showcase creatures all throughout Dungeons & Dragons history, and allow its readers the ability to make player characters with such creatures from all across Faerun. Volume 1 will contain old and new races that seasoned adventurers and newcomers to Dungeons & Dragons may have heard of or seen from a glance. If a race has made its presence known within the inner circle of the Great Wheel, then Volume 1 will serve you well in making unforgettable characters. Nearly every bit of content in Aloysius is geared to be Faerun friendly and contain brand new artwork from a large host of artists. So you can see there's a huge list of artists here that have participated in this project, and all this sample art here of all the different creatures looks like a lot of fun. It says 28 playable races, 5 lineages, 3 new sub-races, and 1 new additional feature. It says turn your medium-sized character into a large one permanently, and then 4 new archetypes. So they've got a path for a barbarian, a college for a bard, and then it looks like a ranger and a warlock. And it says Volume 2 is coming soon. explore more player race options. But it's amazing. It's already Electrum. I wish we could see inside. It's 36 pages, so it'd be cool if we could see like 1 or 2 pages at least. But yeah, the art looks really cool. I mean, look at this guy. He's pretty happy. We've got a dragon guy. Yeah, I don't recognize any of these in particular, but, you know, I'm sure some of you guys do. So check it out and see what all the fuss is about. It's already got 10 5-star ratings, and it's an Electrum seller, so there must be something to this. So take a look and see what's inside here. $30 is the cost, and again, it's on Dungeon Masters Guild. Check it out. Next we have Anti-Cleric the Blasphemous. What if the gods were just parasites? From Burke Cert. It is $1.30 at 14 pages. This is a wrinkled old man who calmly comes out of the darkness, raises his walking stick to the sky while the shadows behind him begin to surround him, and a daring creature takes shape. Everyone who saw him began to tremble in horror. A halfling who looks around as if to say that he will not harm anyone suddenly shouts the innkeeper's name, and the innkeeper collapses to the ground with foam spurting from his mouth. An elf who enters the church with his bare body as if disrespecting the gods throws the book in his hand towards the altar and begins to move towards the altar itself, spewing the flames to those around him. Wider the pantheons of the realms, the more varied the strengths of those who make it their duty to stand before them. The fact that the gods take their power from believers raises the following questions on the minds of some. Are the gods parasitic, powering over mortals? So can divine spells be stolen from the gods? So it's an interesting take that, you know, the gods are kind of evil and taking advantage of people. So maybe this anti-cleric is like pushing back against that or taking advantage of that. We'll see. Those who define themselves as blasphemous know that the divine spells cannot be stolen from the gods because the gods steal this power from their believers. Can something be stolen again? A blasphemous prefers to use only the power of his own faith and chooses to strengthen his own self rather than empowering parasites. So I guess the anti-cleric is against the gods and just not going to use any of their power, wants to derive it from within. So cool. And there's 4 different domains, so maybe it's a whole nother class even. Let's see. So cool cover art here. Yes, it's a whole nother class. Okay, I was thinking it was just a domain, but no, it's a whole nother class. Alright, so you've got the typical class chart, all the information on the hit die and all that, equipment, spell casting abilities. So let's look at some of this stuff here. You're not seeing any of the subclasses in here, but you are getting to see 5 of the 14 pages. So starting at the 5th level, depending on the divinity feature you choose, you gain one of the following features. When an undead fails its saving throw against your rebuke undead feature, the creature gains a -2 penalty to the wisdom save, and not included in the number of undead that you can control if its challenge rating is at or below a certain threshold as shown in the blasphemous table above. Alright, so there must be some okay, I'm not sure where that one is, but oh, okay, I'm in the blasphemy domain. Yeah, this is one of the subclasses. So first level, or no, this is just talking about choosing your domain. Okay, at first level you choose a domain shaped by your choice of your lifestyle and the gifts they grant you. You can choose apostate, cryptodologue, malignant, or scholar. Okay, and then each domain has a list of spells, so it's very similar to the cleric domains. And then twist divinity. At second level you gain the ability to twist divine energy directly from your inner divinity, using that energy to fuel magical effects. You start with 2 such effects: rebuke undead or turn holy. You must choose one of them and an effect determined by your domain. Some domains grant you additional effects as you advance in levels, as noted in the domain description. When you use your twist divinity, you choose which effect to create. You must then finish a short or long rest to use your twist divinity again. So it's like channel divinity. Instead, it's twist divinity, and then they've got rebuke undead and turn holy here. So you can come here and read all about those if this sounds interesting to you. So it sounds like it's almost like patterned after the cleric class, but it's a different class. So maybe you can even tweak some of the existing domains to be anti-cleric available. I'm not sure, but It's following a similar pattern, so I don't see why you couldn't just tweak the lore a little bit, because instead of channel divinity, it's got twist divinity. So that's interesting. Just kind of slightly tweaking the class. So check it out on Dungeon Masters Guild. It's in the description under Anti-Cleric. You can click the link there if you want. Help the channel. The Apocryphon of Voivode, Manual of the Dungeon Sports Coliseum by 𝙏𝙗𝙬 𝙏𝙗𝙬𝙀. It's a pay what you want price of $1 for 22 pages. It says the Dungeon Sports Coliseum floats through the astral plane, attracting brave heroes, villainous cutthroats, and other desperate sentients from across the planes of existence with the promise of glory and riches. Fame and fortune await them on the sands of the arena, but death lurks around every corner. Will you distinguish yourself as a champion of the arena? It's either that or die trying. So it's an extension to the core rules. Focuses on creating fast-paced, brutal combat at all tiers of gameplay. Although the focus is on arena combat setting, these varying rules and modifications to encounter design are invaluable in any campaign setting, especially at higher tier levels of play, where giving your heroes the challenge they need in combat can be hard to figure out. It's battle tested over almost 2 years and 1,000 hours of gameplay. That's nice. So come find out why the heroes keep coming back to risk their lives in Voivode's Dungeon Sports Coliseum. Very cool. And let's see here. The inside. So we've got, talks about the Dungeon Sports Coliseum. And then these are some of the people and locations, and then rules of the Coliseum, and then setting the stage for battle, and then gods, and then the exclusives to the Coliseum. Very cool. This is deceptively large. It's bursting with artifacts and beings from across the planes of existence. Champions of the arena rise, fall, fade from memory, and return unexpectedly. So that's cool. It's kind of bringing together all the different planes of existence. It's in a constant state of flux. It's not uncommon for whole neighborhoods to appear and disappear from around the Coliseum. However, some things are consistent. And then it lists some of those things here. So you've got maybe a god here and a representative. So this is, you get to see 5 of the 22 pages. So here it says, Juniper is the Sealy Court's representative at the Coliseum, or at least that's what she tells anyone who asks. She rarely shows any interest in the games. Instead, the green-haired Eladrin can be found stalking the shadows of the Coliseum complex. Voivode has gnomes watching her in the hopes that one day she'll reveal her true intent. Okay. And then arena gnomes, the most populous beings in the Coliseum complex. Arena gnomes are distinctly different from other subraces of gnomes found throughout the plains. They all have long white beards and are significantly smaller in size than other gnomes. They wear red hats as part of their uniform, which are otherwise specialized based upon where they work in the Coliseum. And they serve in nearly every function in the arena. So that's cool. So there's a different kind of gnome that hangs out at the arena and helps with everything. So that's cool. And then here's Voivode. Voivode, I have trouble with that word, but it's a cool name, Voivode. A power-hungry human, potentially, wizard, who is foolish as he is brilliant. Voivode traded every scrap of peace of mind to Verisundia for arcane might. He used that power to create Dungeon Sports Coliseum. Alright, cool. So, yeah, it's a cool concept. You're in the astral, or is it ethereal plane? What does it say? Astral plane, yep. You're in the astral plane, and there's this Coliseum where all the kinds of arena sport battle things are happening, with different characters that are stationed there, and a whole race of gnomes. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, and it says it's, extension of the core rules, so you can create brutal combat and even use it for higher level play, which, there's always a need for stuff for higher level play because there aren't a lot of official supplements that cover that. So, to pay what you want price of $1, I think you could probably get something out of this for sure that you can use. So check it out on DM's Guild. Use the links in the description. Look for Apocryphon to find that. Now we've got Artificer's Handbook with some cool cover art. I like this art with all the test tubes this guy's got. It's a pay what you want as well at $2.77 by Robert Smith for 20 pages. It says they're builders of mechanical devices that use magic and provide a boost to societies that adopt them, often strange and wonderful people. It says attempts to provide additional options for artificers at your table, focusing on the weird and wonderful depictions, including the Steel Dragon, a specialization that builds devices focusing on hunting monsters, developing a toolkit to destroy the creatures that harm the innocent. The Crimson Scientist, a blood-focused alchemist that creates homunculus to protect their allies. And the Swarm Lord Lady, an artificer that never has enough hands, so has made multiple assisting drones. Background material and options to flesh out your artificers are also included. So this is all things artificer, it looks like. So you've got, there's no full previews, but you can look through the short one here, so you get to see 2 of the 20 pages. You can't really read any of it too because it's a little too small, but looks nice layout. You can see kind of there's some background information and some tables to go along with some of the stuff they've got in here. So it just starts off with the artifice, looks like, and then maybe the spark. I think that's what that says. Anyway, it's defining 3 different subclasses with background material. So we've talked about in previous videos, you know, artificers are a newer class. They're not in the player's handbook. So if you're looking for additional stuff at a pay what you want price, then the Artificer's Handbook might be for you. Check it out, DM's Guild. Next we have Dread Metrol, Into the Mist by Keith Baker, an Eberron Ravenloft crossover with Andrew Wyszynski and Imogen Gingle. It's already a best gold seller, and it just came out, and it's $17.95. It's 112 pages, so you can join Eberron setting creator Keith Baker for a journey through the mist and into the domain of Dread Metrol. Explore one of the greatest cities of Corvair, a city now besieged by nightmares. In this book, Keith creates a bridge between the settings of Eberron and Ravenloft. Trapped in an endless war, Metrol has become a harsh realm where familiar elements take dark turns. In this besieged city, House Cannith crafts soldiers from flesh and steel. House Vidalis supports the Werecat secret police, and in the shadows, far more sinister secrets await. Dread Metrol Into the Mist provides everything you need to dive into the darkness and explore the city of Metrol, including a starter adventure plus a host of ideas for creating adventures and characters that are deeply tied to the setting. It can be used to incorporate Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft into Eberron, or you can use it as a standalone setting. No familiarity with Ravenloft is required. So that's cool. So if you want to incorporate it into Eberron, you can, and and have Ravenloft be part of that, or not. So that's nice. It gives you, the options. It's already got 7 5-star reviews, by the way. Dozens of pages of new lore, including its history, districts, vermishards and factions, statistics for Queen Ganel, which is the ruler of the Dark Domain. Nice. So you get the stat block for your Dark Lord. Plot hooks and tables galore to inspire new adventures. A new artificer archetype. We just talked about how artificers need more archetypes. So, and this one specializes in rebuilding their own body, so that's cool. It sounds kind of Ravenloft-esque to have an artificer that rebuilds itself, kind of Frankenstein maybe. The Morning After an adventure by Andrew Wyszynski that takes characters from 1st to 4th level. Could be used as the start of an Eberron campaign or tied through the mist to an ongoing campaign in any world. High-resolution copies of the maps and a companion 32 page player edition PDF allowing DMs to share the setting of Dread Metrol with players without revealing its deepest secrets. So cool. And you've got Together Studios and KB Presents as part of this. So gorgeous art, and look at all this nice beautiful art here. We're going to read some of this in a minute, but look at these nice stat blocks. So here's a burster bug. That's a really cool looking thing. Very Ravenloft-esque as well. So it's nice they list the artists here on the side and kind of faded gray. That's cool because most products don't list the artists with the art. They list them on a separate page. So it says the people of Metrol have endured nearly 4 years of isolation and siege. Every night the undead forces assault the city. Meanwhile, within Metrol's walls, people fight famine, plague, and all too often, one another. Queen 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙪 has instituted draconian measures to bolster Metrol's defense. One of the most horrific is her decision to let House Vidalis use her people as fodder for their experiments as they seek to create living weapons. Well, that's no good. You don't want to use your people for fodder, but that's a good setup for the adventure here. Gotta stop that. And looks like burster bugs might be something you have to deal with in this book. So this is in the appendix. So these pages are kind of throughout the book, so we're getting to see some cool stuff. That looks really cool, right, too, with the half machine, half person. So there's a whole intro on the domain here. And it says, everyone knows that young Danelle took the throne after her father, Konos, died on the battlefield. Her people were amazed and inspired by her courage and determination to fight, and she proved smarter than generals many times her age. But there is a more sinister side to her story. Ever since she was a child, Danelle has heard a voice whispering to her from the dark. The voice told her of her destiny, that she and she alone could lead Sire to victory, and it revealed the secrets of the people around her, revealing just how weak the people she trusted and respected truly were. At first she had doubts, but everything the voice told her proved true, so she gradually began to trust and believe it. She could see that King Konos was failing to lead the nation to victory as it deserved. While she loved her father, she also saw all of his flaws and decided to take Sire's future into her own hands. Konos' death on the battlefield was not by enemy hands, as commonly believed. Rather, his squire Marson killed him on Danelle's orders, and according to her plans, allowing her to rise to the throne. Okay, so you got some backstabbing going on, and helping her take the throne, and be kind of evil, I guess. So, nice setup, nice artwork. Let's look inside. So, a lot of cool illustrators working on the project. So you can see there's a whole adventure in the back here, and then a lot on the domain. So some new domains you don't get that much information, but this one you're getting quite a bit, and you get to see 20 pages here in the preview. So this talks here a little bit overview of the domain, and then information on Ravenloft and Eberron. So we'll look at that in just a second, but I love the layout. I love, kind of the setup of this sort of backstabbing leader of this domain. And then there's some information on the currency, random locations, and then the cool map here. Yeah, I like that map a lot. That's cool. Very nice. Lots of maps in here. Oh, there's a whole Undercity. I like that. And noteworthy locations in there. Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot in here for the money. You get a lot of information on this whole new domain, and then it ties into Eberron or Ravenloft. So it's like two settings in one, in a way, Or you can make it your own. Doesn't have to be either one of those. So it says, Dread Metrol is a domain torn from Sire on the day of mourning, a mighty city trapped in the endless siege. But what does this mean on a higher level? How do Eberron and Ravenloft relate to one another? There are two easy ways for you to approach the connection between these two settings. You could decide that the dark powers can pull domains of dread from across the multiverse, including Eberron. If you take this approach, you can use all the lore of Ravenloft and Eberron exactly as written. Dread Metrol is a siren city that has been drawn out of Eberron and into Ravenloft. The people of Metrol know nothing of the rest of the multiverse, but this doesn't matter. The only thing that's relevant to the adventurer or campaign is that Metrol is here now. Cool. So you can use all your existing lore, all your existing supplements, or if you don't want to incorporate the rest of the multiverse, you can use Dread Metrol as a purely Eberron-based campaign. In that case, the mains of Dread are tied to the plane of Mabar, also known as the Endless Night. As a plane, Mabar embodies despair and entropy, the end of all things, including hope. As part of this, the Endless Night consumes pieces of other planes, pulling a piece of another realm into the hinterlands of Mabar, where its life and hope are slowly consumed until only darkness and death remains. So that's cool. So it gives you how to make it purely Eberron or connected to the multiverse, and that's awesome, giving you that flexibility, from the person who created Eberron, Keith Baker. I mean, how can you go wrong? I would definitely be interested in getting this, and it's got 112 pages, so you're going to get quite a bit of material for the $17.95. So check it out in the video description under Dread Metrol. Click those links, help the channel, and find out more about bringing Ravenloft and Eberron together. Next, we have The Dream Collector by Mad Nickel. A slumbering town holds a terrible secret, one that could spell doom for the waking world. So also Madison Nickel, so short, abbreviated there on the cover. $3.99, 17 pages. This is a cosmic horror adventure based around the 𝙭𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬 domain of dread. The Dream Collector contains a 2 to 4 hour adventure for levels 6 to 8. You can explore an abandoned town full of sleeping inhabitants, terrifying nightmares, and a sinister plot. A setting, neutral location, easy to place in any campaign world. 2 easy ways to start the adventure, and easy to follow location notes. Maybe you and your table love cosmic horror and all things mind flayer, then this is for you, it says. You want to make your characters afraid of sleeping and never waking up, or you want to play a dangerous game of cat and mouse in a sleepy, mist-soaked village, or you're looking for more ways to introduce Ravenloft or 𝙭𝙤𝙬𝙬 into your campaign. So those are reasons to get it. So let's take a look inside. So you can see all 17 pages, so that's very nice. So you have really no reason not to check this one out if you can see all the pages before you buy. So I'm looking through here. Got the adventure summary, a bit about the town. You got your flavor text to read as you go through the adventure. There's a map of the town, very cool. Yeah, fun, very cool. And then you've got the Miss Cleaver item here at the end. So we'll read some of the flavor text here in a second. Let's scroll back up and see a little bit about the hamlet. So 𝙭𝙤𝙬𝙬 is a logging town built just off the main road. The hamlet is tiny, a blink and you'll miss it kind of place, and as such was left off many maps. Utterly unimportant, 𝙭𝙤𝙬𝙬ians were left to fend for themselves. Their houses are wattle and daub huts with filthy thatched roofs. Stone buildings are a luxury reserved for city dwellers, and the people of 𝙭𝙤𝙬𝙬 firmly believed that their struggle makes them stronger both in body and spirit. The central tenet of local life drives all things from the cycle of daily work to sleep schedules and even leisure time. Alright, so getting a little information on that little hamlet. So even if you need a hamlet, this might be a good option for you. It says, as characters approach 𝙭𝙤𝙬𝙬, read or paraphrase the following. A hamlet rises from the dense mist-shrouded woods, a palisade of sharpened logs surrounding it. The gate, a squat, heavy-set pine door attached to a series of frayed rope pulleys, is shut. From inside the hamlet you can hear laborious, gasping, breathy shrieks, followed by the wet sound of bare feet slapping against mud. So, kind of nice auditory description as well as visual. This is on the gravekeeper's house. The door to this house is flung wide open, the furniture flung across the room, shattered glass blankets the floor, and a crossbow bolt is stuck in the interior door frame. A body lays in the middle of the room, and an unloaded crossbow in her hand. The top of her head has been removed, and her brain is missing. In a pile of clutter and broken furniture is a small box. So, kind of a creepy little description there. So yeah, if you're looking for cosmic horror, this could be a fun little adventure. It's 2 to 4 hours, so you could maybe do this in one session. And there's a lot of other great cosmic stuff out there. My friend Milos has a lot of cosmic stuff, so maybe you could use his stuff with this. So yeah, definitely check this out if you're looking for some cosmic horror for your Dungeons and Dragons game. Next we have For the Sound of His Horn. It's a Ravenloft scenario by Adam Gauntlet. $6 for 39 pages. It says the people of 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙬, a small village in Mordant, once were part of the Hunting Tower estate, now defunct. 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙬's alderman, Sanders Murdoch, suffered a near-fatal hunting accident in pursuit of his favorite prey, the fox. Sanders suspects foul play and promises to severely punish whoever is behind the attacks. Some say what happened to Sanders isn't natural, and they're right. The hunter's horn was wakened, something best left sleeping. So, 46-hour Ravenloft adventure for 1st to 3rd level characters. Let's look inside. So there's an intro, and yeah, so you get some terminology for the fox hunting. They're doing some fox hunting stuff, and then here's information on the location, hooks. So yeah, you're getting to see 6 of the 39 pages in here, and then arriving at the scene. Very cool. There's a festival involved, so we'll read a little bit of this here in a second. So, 3 generations ago, the squire of 𝙏𝙤𝙦𝙙𝙬𝙀, Gilbert Huntingtower, enlarged his lands by stealing a portion previously owned by his dead brother. Though his brother left 2 children who ought to have inherited, the squire forced them out. They were far too young to defend themselves, and they had no choice but to beg for their bread. Though they had hoped the people of 𝙏𝙤𝙦 would help them, they were pushed away, they vanished, never to be heard from again. So cool, a little background there. I like the setup, a battle over the land there. So you got population of the village, major events, important businesses. Cool. So you've got blacksmith, an inn, the miller, all that stuff. But over here, let's look at some of the scenario hooks. So call from Ezra. 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙤 asks his superiors in the church for aid and advice. If the PCs are connected to the church, or the church has reason to think the PCs might help, the church will ask the PCs to intervene. Occult adventurers, PCs who make a habit of delving into haunted houses and similar dangerous locales, learn about Hunting Tower Manse. Details are sketchy, but there's a good chance that something worth investigating can be found there. Okay. So, lots of setup options, and then rewards. If the PCs help 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤 and his vigil on the anniversary of Gilbert's death and are successful, they get a letter of recommendation from 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤, which will add +2 or give advantage to any social check involving devout worshippers of 𝙤𝙤 or the Church of 𝙤𝙤. Okay. And then multiple festivals listed here. So you could even use those elsewhere as festivals for your town. That's awesome. And then establishing shots here. So they're talking about the scene. Let's see, a small scattering of houses surround the church and council hall, huddled as if for protection against the outside world. Out in the fields, farmers and herders take care of their fields and flocks, while in the village, people busy about their own affairs stop for a moment to stare at the visitors. So, different angles here that you might read to your players. Yeah, I like that. Multiple take. It's almost very cinematic the way this person has described their setting. Trying something a little different there with different angles of the flavor text. So I like that. And it's Ravenloft. It's got that dark feeling. So you can have creepy stuff going on. You can even repurpose some of the festival stuff. So I think you get a decent amount of stuff for 39 pages, $6 on DM's Guild. Next, Ghost of Mirabar by Carl Vandal and Clive Hill. It's a rogue archetype and faction for the Forgotten Realms. $4.95 for 22 pages. It's a unique rogue archetype for use in Forgotten Realms or any campaign setting. Learn about the city of Mirabar and its mighty guardians, the Axes of Mirabar. Then discover the secret beneath the surface, hidden in the shadows, lurking in the dark. The Ghosts of Mirabar are guardians of Mirabar's secrets. This book provides you with all the rules necessary to create a rogue and with the Ghosts archetype, and it details the history of the faction. So very cool. And there's 6 unique NPCs and 1 monster included. So that's cool. You don't normally get a monster along with your archetype. So, and 22 pages is nice. So you're getting information on, it looks like a history of Mirabar, and then the faction, and then particular NPCs, and then there's magic items as well. Very cool. So you got a nice map here of Mirabar area, it looks like. Background. So there's Mirabar. And then some NPC and history here. Ghosts of Mirabar archetype. We're going to read some of that in a minute. And then you've got all your existing ghosts. So you're going to see all 22 pages. Very nice, generous preview here. So no reason not to check this one out. So definitely click Ghosts of Mirabar in the video description here. Support the channel and check out this title. But let's read some of the archetype here. So, alright, so it says when you select this archetype at 3rd level, you gain proficiency in the use of Alchemist Supplies, Disguise Kit, Poisoner's Kit, and the Scimitar. So lots of proficiencies there. Insightful Fighting. At 9th level, you gain the ability to decipher an opponent's tactics and develop a counter to them. As a bonus action, you can make a Wisdom check against a creature you can see that isn't incapacitated, contested by the target's Charisma check. If you succeed, you can use your Sneak attack against the target even if you don't have advantage on the attack roll, but not if you have disadvantage on it. This benefit lasts for 1 minute or until you can successfully use this feature against a different target. Cool. Okay, so we'll look at we're not going to read all of the abilities. You can come read them here yourself since you get the free preview, but we'll read the Death Strike one, 17th level. You become Master of Instant Death. When you attack and hit a creature that is surprised, it must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, double the damage of your attack against the creature. That's cool. Double damage. You know, that's always good if it works. Very cool. So yeah, lots of information on Mirabar, and so you get a lot for this archetype. You're getting background on an area, you're getting some NPCs, you're getting a monster, you're getting a magic item, and then the archetype that kind of brings it all together, and the faction, you know. And I like that the NPCs are like samples of the archetype. You know, a lot of times you get an archetype and you don't get examples. So even if you don't use it as a player archetype, there's nothing stopping you from using it as an NPC archetype, right? So I think that's a nice touch. So I'm excited for people to check it out here on DM's Guild. Next, we have Glitter Gold's Big Book of Gnomes, with this kind of parody cover of a magazine. It's even got sort of a fake label of you know, mailing label on it. I like that. It's from Drew Dawes with a pay what you want price of $13 for 100 pages. It says, buried deep in the Candlekeep restricted section, one brave and exhaustive researcher of gnome lore has uncovered 13 gnomish secrets, whispered ever so softly by a girl glitter gold gnome deity of trickery, protection, and luck. These 13 gnomish secrets contain the power and potential to shatter worldviews. To keep you safe, Girl Glitter Gold has obscured the secrets deep within the tome, protected by 100 styles of gnomes. Within each page, you gain valuable insight into the inner workings of what makes a gnomish mind tick. Relive some of the greatest communion of laughter gatherings the Forgotten Realms has ever seen. Encounter legendary gnomish NPCs to bring into your own worlds. Beware, this tome is unlike anything the guild has prepared for you. Approach it with an open mind and you will surely fail your DC 13 wisdom saving throw. So, kind of a fun intro. I mean, 100 pages, and you've got this cool, fun cover. I'm excited to see what's inside. Says you're magical, trust yourself. Gnomes are magical, play a gnome, be a gnome. So, very magazine style layout, which is cool. You know, I make books as well, and I've been tempted several times to do a book that's got a magazine style layout, so I applaud these folks for doing that. So yeah, they've got a whole editor's note entry. So you're going to see 10 in the 100 pages. It says, evidence of the 5th edition decisively points to the D&D Next playtest experiment being a success. It is time to extract the magic inside every role player's mind and heart and transmute that energy and change the world as we know it for the better. So, and then there's an editor's note. I tried, I really did. What lies before you is the unfiltered world of Girl Glitter Gold, gnomish god, goddess, deity of trickery, protection, and luck. Format, content, and presentation is unlike anything else available on the DM's Guild. The more I try to convert Girl's vision into text and game stats, the more my mind flopped with hypnotic, shimmery, glittery spirals. The harder I tried to convey their divine message in the double columns that would signal to other DM's Guild creators that I knew what I was doing, the less I resisted the urge to do something completely different. Was it exactly what I wanted or what Girl wanted at this point? I honestly can't tell, and secretly I no longer care to find out. At some point during our last several years of being a warlock of Glitter Gold, tasked with bringing their Divine word to the masses, I uncovered the true secret of the whole point of this little game we all play. The secret was buried under a mountain of bad jokes and gnomish alliteration nicknames, but I found it. We have the ability to become every character we've ever created, all at once, with magic. Magic is real, and it's actually not that hard. D&D beneath the surface level could more accurately be called M&M because it subconsciously teaches us two things, magic and math. So, kind of a fun little intro as if this person's writing a magazine. And it kind of explains why they're using maybe a different format. So, kind of cool. I wish we could see one of the gnome styles, because there's a lot of them in here. 13 gnomish secrets, but still, it looks like it's a lot of fun, different. It's pay what you want, so you can always pay, the full 13 or a different price just to kind of check it out. And let's see if the quick preview gives us any more pages to kind of look at. Nope. Okay, so don't get to see any of the little gnome stuff, but I still think it's pretty fun. I mean, you get to see this person put a lot of thought into deviating from the normal style. I mean, most titles look like wizard titles, right? So they're trying something different, and I applaud that. We need creativity. We need things that stand out and are different from the rest of what's out there. Just shake it up a little bit. It's good. Awesome. All right, check it out. Next, we have Lucky Devil by Trip Reed. It's multiple file formats for $3.95, and it's 78 pages. So, one night at Lord Bacon's Barrel House, a harried barmaid's mixed-up delivery of identical tankards leads to involuntary arson and plunges a group of innocently carousing adventurers into a tangle of shifting identities, a stolen heirloom, the competing interests of thieves and watchguards, and a haunted mansion, and rugs. Can you solve the layered mystery to everyone's satisfaction? So it's got 4 to 6 characters, 3rd to 5th level, 4 to 24 hours, depending on how you play, in an urban setting, and with mystery, social investigation, and combat. 7 maps, 5 NPCs, 2 new magic items, 4 new monsters, centralized hit points for all monsters, adventure hooks for additional play. So that's cool. Let's look inside. So you get to see 16 of the 78 pages. So quite a lot of flavor text, which is nice. I mean, it's a big one here that you can read. It's cool. It's nice when they give you sufficient flavor text so that you're not like just struggling to describe it yourself. So it says here, posted curfew. 2 women in a city livery stand at a broadside pillar in the middle of a square that bustles with the business of many shops. One rings a bell and calls in a clear voice, "Twilight curfew by order of the Lord Mayor, 𝙭Cantorell and Zinskaran districts until otherwise proclaimed. Citizens out after dark will be detained and questioned." The other woman is pasting a broadside on the pillar, which reads, "Twilight curfew for citizen safety by owner of the Lord Mayor, 𝙭Cantorell and Zinskaran. Stay indoors after dark. Scofflaws will be stopped by the city watch." So, got a curfew situation, which, can be good or bad, but it kind of sets the tone here. So let's look a little bit more at the background. 1 year ago, last autumn, a restless member of the city's Sodality of Sharp Dealers, the local name of the Thieves Guild, a fabulously lucky fellow who goes by the name of Royce Rivers, decided to keep 2 items he'd stolen as part of his Sodality caper from wealthy merchant Terrell Horan's personal cabinet of curiosities: a potion of fire breath and a large emerald etched with the stylized chameleon in a gold setting, a brooch of disguise, in fact. It didn't take Sodality leader Dorian Scapegrace long to figure out that Royce, prior to this a rising star in the Sodality and one of the Scapegrace's favorites, had kept the brooch, and so he sent dozens of operatives out to find and fetch the rogue. Within days, a squad of 3 spotted Royce late in the afternoon as he strode through Pindell Market. Though they lost ground during the chase, Royce's famous luck holding true, they still had him in sight when he scaled the main gate fence into the mysterious, long, uninhabited, reputedly haunted Braze estate the rogues bravely followed. So, starting with a chase of this thief being very roguelike and keeping something that he wasn't supposed to. and then it builds from there. So it says it's recommended for an average party level of 4, and it begins in a tavern in a city of 25,000 inhabitants, and then it leads to encounters in the city watch and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, if you're looking for an urban adventure, you could even maybe repurpose this city, once the adventure's over, to be maybe a home city for your party. But it seems like there's a lot of detail. You've even got like what you would see during the day and the night. So it's 78 pages for an adventure. I mean, that's quite a lot, and it's only $3.95. So look for Lucky Devil in the description video links. All right, Magma Chamber, an encounter map for any kind of role-playing game. It's only 59 cents, and it's from Matteo Gelasi. It's got gridded, ungridded day and night versions of a battle map with various dimensions, and this creator has a Patreon where they're creating some of these, but this one is just one that Matteo released this week, and I like to feature just one title per creator. And so I picked this one just because I thought, how often do you see a lava map? And there's going to be a gridded version of this, so you could see the characters maybe precariously walking across all of this to get to the other side. And it's broken, right? So at some point they're going to have to levitate or something to get over there, or jump. And you've got all this stuff. Maybe they could hop from here to here and then over there, but I like the art style quite a bit. I think Matteo's rather talented from an art standpoint, and you're getting grid, non-grid, day, night. That's really nice. And he's got you can see down here all these other ones. So I just wanted to share some of this artwork with you this week. I always like to have at least one map if I can squeeze it in somewhere in the video. Just to break it up and give you guys some options for your maps as well. And I just thought his art was really talented, and I liked all the options here for you to have, grid, non-grid. So check it out. It's only 59 cents. Go to, look for Magma Chamber in the video description and get the link for that. Monster Hunts Weekly, issue number 24 from Val Serene, Nathan Doyle, Sharkside, and Micah Watt. It's $4.95 for 10 pages. So one of these comes out every week, and we don't get to feature them every week because we want to share the love across creators, but it's nice to include them sometimes. And they do quality work. They've got wonderful art and a lot to offer in each of these Monster Hunt Weeklies. So it's usually a collection of one-shot adventures, maps, creatures, magic items, plot hooks, and tables that you can use in your D&D games. So in this one, they've got a Avatar the Hunt, which is a CR6 Fae capable of assuming the form of any creature. New harvesting materials, including cranial fluid, Avatar pelt, horns, eyes, and blood. 6 new magical items to craft, including the Elixir of the Wild Hunt, Cloak of the Stalker, and 4 plot hooks, and Once in a Lifetime, which is a short one-shot for 4 to 6 players at the 4th level. Ready to run out of the box, complete with monster tokens, a full-color map, NPC details, and rewards. And so you can see the stunning layout, as usual, from this group of talented creators. You've got the Avatar of the Hunt, stats over here, very nice layout. And then you've got this really cool looking map. I like the way they did this where they're marking the areas here. And then, kind of gives you the information on what to expect. So you get each issue has 4 magic items, professional designs from Molino David, and one-shot adventures, new creatures. So it's a cool series. I always like looking at the art because it's really good. Inside here, got the intro, and they talk about harvesting monster parts, so that's cool. You got a harvesting table, and then icons for your encounters. So each icon represents a particular set of tactics, and that's helpful. So you talk about if the creature's a tank or an ambusher or afflicted, rusher, defender. I like this sort of way of marking your creatures to say, they're more of this or that. I think 4th edition did a little bit of that. I've read a little bit about 4th edition, never played it, but I think there was that kind of stuff going on, so it's nice that they have it here. If you're into that, you can bring it back, and then you've got rarity as well with your creatures, kind of like Magic the Gathering or something, with different colors for the rarity. So I like that they're trying something, a little enhancement to what Wizards offers with their stat blocks and stuff. So you can see already here we've got icons on the avatar of the hunt explaining the rarity of it. So according to this, it's a red, rarely seen creature, and then it's got the eyeballs. So let's look for the eyeballs up here. So it's an ambusher type of creature. So yeah, once you get used to these symbols, I'm assuming they use them frequently in these Monster Hunt weeklies. So in addition to the normal stat block stuff, of course, you get these 2 extra details without taking up extra space because they're using the symbols, so that's nice. Harvesting table, there's quite a lot I've seen on monster harvesting, so it's nice that they're leaning into that as well, and they have their own kind of section on that up here. So very cool on selling harvested materials, what that involves. So, and then some really cool plot hooks, and again, this beautiful map. So you're getting to see all 10 pages. So again, no excuse not to check this one out. I particularly like this map, and yeah, nice little adventure here. But let's look at some of the plot hooks. Below are a collection of plot hooks you can read aloud or tweak to introduce the avatar of the hunt. So there's a wanted poster they have, and then they have a quote from a frustrated hunter. He says, "It wasn't any ordinary bear, I'm telling you. The damn thing spoke to me, called me names, and heckled me every time my arrows missed their mark. I managed to hit it once and gave chase, but it vanished into the undergrowth pretty quickly. Yes, don't laugh, it's the truth." So that's a frustrated hunter sort of talking about trying to get this creature, the avatar of the hunt. So very nice. It seems cool that it all flows together. So the monster, the one-shot adventure kind of ties into the monster, it looks like, and then you've got harvesting of the monster. So a lot of things kind of all rolled together, and then you can obviously just use pieces of it. You can use the monster parts, you can use the hooks, you can use the full adventure or the monster in isolation. So I think it's a good deal for the money, and I do like that you get all this nice art, and you get this kind of symbol system that I'm assuming if you're buying multiple issues, you kind of get used to. So very cool, nice job. Look for Monster Hunts Weekly in the video description. Find the link and click that. Check it out. Next we have NIMS Vehicle Workshop. It's a vehicle building system for both players and dungeon masters, created by Daniel North. It's $9.95 pay what you want price, 90 pages. It's very much in the playtesting phase, but looking for feedback. So within the 90-page book, you'll find rules to add vehicles to any Dungeons & Dragons game, guide to build vehicles from varying levels of technology, example vehicles, rules for chases and races, including complications. So that's cool if you need some vehicles for your campaign, or just want to even explore the option of vehicles. You can check out these 9 pages out of the 90 here. So the contents show that they've got information on building a vehicle, size, type, engines, construction materials, action stations, features, devices, upgrades, and then sample vehicles, as well as chases, complications, and something called the Jagger program. So I guess the vehicles have stat blocks. It says it's designed by taking rules for infernal war machines from Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus, and the rules for ships from the Ghosts of Saltmarsh, dissecting them, a little find and replace, a little back and forth, slice of Eberron, a pinch of Kaladesh, a dash of Acquisitions Incorporated, a little math, and a bit of internet research, and adding some personal flair, turning it into a modular guide for introducing magical and non-magical vehicles into any D&D campaign, usable by players and DMs alike. So That's cool that they at least referenced all the official stuff to kind of keep it in line with that, so you're not going to deviate too much. So very cool. So you got the crew actions, components, hook points, vehicle rules. So we'll read some of that in a second. Mishaps, oh that's nice. Repairs. And then officers and crew, types of officers, crew members. And then player options with vehicle feats and proficiencies. So I definitely like that. So let's read one of the mishaps. Engine flare. Fire erupts from the engine and engulfs the vehicle. Any creature that starts its turn on or inside the vehicle takes 10 3d6 fire damage until this mishap ends. So, very nice. And alright, let's see, let's find another part to read here. So crew actions as part of the stat block specifies what the vehicle can do on its turn, using its special actions rather than the actions used by creatures. It even relies on its actions to move. It doesn't have a move. Otherwise, the vehicle's captain decides which actions to use. A given action can be chosen only once during a turn. If the vehicle is using crew actions, it also benefits from the rules in the officers and crew section of the vehicle rules chapter. Cool, so it's kind of just explaining the stat block and how to read it, what actions can be used. So I like that it's following, typical stat blocks where it has actions. So it's not too foreign. It's not too hard to introduce. You can kind of use some mechanics that you're already used to, which is stat block actions. Very, very cool. Yeah, vehicles can be really fun, and I'm sure you could apply some of the concepts, the crew concepts, to like just even a ship. So I think this is worth checking out, and maybe helping support the development of it, because the Daniel North here is looking for feedback, and it's a pay what you want price. So if you're intending to give a lot of feedback, maybe you pay a different price here, but definitely pay something and check it out on Dungeon Masters Guild. Next we have kobolds, goblins, and bugbears. Oh my! Not another monster quest, it says at the top. It's from a lot of people, so I won't read all of them, but you've got Alex Niederberger, Anthony Joyce, Bob Carnicom, Brittany Hay, and quite a few artists as well. It says, the world of Dungeons & Dragons has so many fascinating creatures to explore and interact with, but more often than not, those creatures labeled as monsters are seen as nothing more than a bag of experience points for adventurers to carve through in their quest to further expand and explore the world around them. Very rarely are these creatures presented in a positive light, and even more rarely as individuals with their own stories to tell. This disconnect is further widened by the ability for players to create characters from these so-called monstrous races, often labeling player characters as outcasts or individuals who are able to break free of their monstrous origins and find a more civilized way of being. With Not Another Monster Quest, we seek to showcase these monstrous races in a wide spectrum of colors and personality types, not just automatically quantifying them as evil because of how they look or their background. Evil is not something that should be prescribed to an entire race of beings, with a handful of them, usually player characters, being quantified as good. Just as in our world, theirs is filled with people of every size, shape, color, class, and creed, and should not be dictated by the ancestry that they were born into. In these pages you will find cozy kobold merchants, goofy goblin miners, and a whole host of bugbear buddies to help enrich your world and stories. So we invite you to turn the page and step into a world filled with possibilities and wonder as we break the mold, delving further into how we define these monstrous characters. Well, I just love that. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, to kind of widen the scope of what's possible. I've always thought that with stuff. Like, it shouldn't just be black and white. And I know there's a legacy of the game being, from the 70s till now, so there's some older notions that maybe need to be changed or updated. You can even see wizards with drow, how they're changing drow to be not just entirely evil, which I think is awesome, especially since I made a book on sort of a half drow race that is a little nicer than normal. So very cool that this group is tackling that. So for $19.95 and 88 pages, you can support that. Look at the stunning art, nice layout. You can help a bugbear open an inn. You can track an old witch's runaway hut, buy fireworks from a cat-loving goblin. I mean, all kinds of fun stuff. 4 adventures ranging from Tier 1 to Tier 3, 8 NPCs, each with their own rich history and backstory, 16 colorful encounters, and 17 pieces of artwork. And then they've got the credits here, but I'm very impressed without even looking inside. Now let's look inside. So you got, again, that gorgeous layout here. So it talks about using the book. And then your adventures. Cool little adventure background. Nice. Yeah. You get to see all 88 pages. Alright, I mean, what is not to love about that? You get to see the entire 88-page book. So you really have no excuse not to check this one out. And I mean, look at this nice map they've got going on. Very cool. Love it. Alright, let's go back up here and read some of this. I think because it's so many pages, it's a little slower to load, but that's alright. It's worth it to get to see all this stuff. So, the gems are mine. Let's just read a little bit about this. It says, a jeweler's apprentice goes missing, and the mayor blames a group of goblins who recently moved to the area. Except the goblins are not the problem. Investigation reveals a tangled web of misinformation, hidden agendas, and greed, and no one is sure whom they can trust. So already I can tell that what this is going to do is challenge people's notions that goblins are always bad, right? So I like that. I like that you can maybe subvert people's assumptions about some of these races in your campaign. So, you know, even if you just plugged in one of these as a one-shot to just say, hey, players, don't come to this table assuming goblins are always going to be bad guys. I'm gonna show you that maybe they're not. And that could be fun, and maybe shake things up, get people out of the rut of the same old. So this is the party is tasked to help clear out a cursed mine full of goblins and rescue a local's missing daughter, the jeweler's apprentice Erin. Through their investigation, the characters have the opportunity to question what they've been told, which leads them to discover that it's not the goblins who are the problem, but the greedy mayor, 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙪. In fact, the goblins ask for the party's help in clearing their names and the name of their mining operation, the Hidden Gem Mining Company, of any wrongdoing. The goblins explain what really happened to Erin, surmising that she has fallen victim to the giant spiders that make their home in the deeper parts of the mine. They task the characters with defeating the spiders in order to try to rescue her so that the truth can come to light. So you can be a hero, you can right a wrong, you can save these little goblins from persecution. I mean, it's a feel-good situation here, and I love that. So bravo to this team for trying something different and challenging these notions. And I love that it's a bunch of one-shots, little adventures that you can plug in to just get people to think differently about this stuff, you know? It doesn't always have to be good versus evil. There's you know, shades of gray in the middle, and it's not all black and white as well, right? So looks like there's lots of NPCs in here, lots of different contributors, so you're bound to find something in here, and I think it's just worth supporting the effort to shake it up. Maybe Wizards will take a look at this and consider doing something similar. But look for Not Another Monster Quest in the video descriptions. You can click that link, support the channel, and support all these creators here. Next we have Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, Warlock options. Love this cover. It's from Phil Kearney, Darren Kinney, Morgan Robbins, William Lawler, and Hidden Dave for $9.99. 33 pages. Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica presents each of the 10 guilds of Ravnica as an otherworldly patron that guild members can form a pact with to deepen their commitment to their chosen guild. In addition, 5 new pact boons are provided and over 40 new invocations inspired by Magic the Gathering to choose from. The content is presented aesthetically as Ravnica campaign material with suggestions for how each patron can be present in other settings like Forgotten Realms, Eberron, and general themes for your own world. So very cool. You can use them alongside other things from Player's Handbook, Tasha's, Xanathar's, etc., or you can use them exclusively. And if you want the 5-color mana point spell variant rules, the Spellpoint Warlocks provides easy options to do so if you're looking for that. There's another book they're talking about that you can use to bring that into this. But look at this very nice layout and artwork here. You know, they've got the symbols of the guilds. You've got your artwork representing the guilds. You did a really good job bringing in artwork that's very Magic the Gathering-esque and fits Ravnica. So nice layout here. We'll read some of this here. So you've got additional invocations. Can be used by any warlock. So you've got Commune with the Land. You can cast Commune with Nature without expending a spell slot. When you cast a spell using this invocation, you ignore limitations imposed by construction on this spell, treating it as a natural underground setting instead. Once you have used this invocation, you can't use it again until you complete a short or long rest. So very cool. Let's look at the Selesnya Conclave. So this is one of the archetypes here. So with Boon of the Many, starting at the 6th level, the presence of your comrades fortifies you in battle. At the start of your turn, you gain 1 temporary hit point for each ally within 10 feet of you, up to a maximum equal to your Charisma modifier. At 14th level, this increases to 2 temporary hit points for each ally. Very cool. And that goes nice with Selesnya. So it seems like they're theming these around you know, the personality of the guilds, because if you know anything about Ravnica, all the guilds have like a personality and kind of a feeling to them, because they're very well defined as part of the various Ravnica sets. There have been a lot of Ravnica sets for Magic the Gathering, so it's nice that they've got kind of, they're respecting that history. Okay, let's look inside. So you get to see 33 of all 33 pages, so once again a very generous preview. It says, patron guidance. Warlocks often receive intuitions, see mysterious signs, or hear otherworldly voices providing insight and direction from their patrons. This guidance can be symbolic and indirect, or literal conversation with guild agents. Roll a d6 to choose how your guild guides you as an otherworldly patron. Number 1 is you have a telepathic bond with your patron. Number 2, couriers or spirits deliver messages for you to follow. Number 3, illusory imagery, visible only to you, your guild warlocks that guide you. So, some kind of lore stuff going on as well, but incredible art seems to be throughout the book. You know, so you don't have to go too long with sort of a nice bit of eye candy as you're reading through this. And I love that they've put, you know, this custom art into each guild. It's very nice. And then you've got invocations. So just a ton on offer here from these creators for $9.99. So look in the video description for Packs and Patrons of Ravnica. Click that link, look through the whole book, and consider purchasing it, supporting these creators and the channel by clicking the link. Awesome. Reactive Armors, armor sets with special reactions from Starshine for $4.99 at 12 pages. And you get a full preview in the title again, so that's very nice. In the heat of battle, one moment can change everything. A single second is all it takes to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and turn the tide against impossible odds. Reactive armors are extraordinary magical armors that allow the wearer to perform special reactions that can instantly change the flow of battle. 42 different armor sets, each with the unique abilities await you inside, including Crystallis, make copies of weapons that damage you. Oh, I like that. Hive of Minds, force other people to make your saving throws. Reef of Tranquility, regain hit points when people heal in your presence. All very interesting sounding stuff. So you get to see all 12 pages. Look at the roll tables here, so then you've got all the armors. So we'll just pick one here. So in Venom armor, any rare requires attunement. During this armor's construction, the material is dipped in several different types of venom. This venom means that the armor is always shimmering slightly due to the venom's caustic properties. It also has a strong acidic aroma that is quite unpleasant. So you get to use it 3 times a day. Whenever you get the poison condition is the trigger, and the effect is venom shoots out of the armor. Every being within 15 foot also gets poison condition. When the condition is removed from you, it is also removed from everyone else affected by the reaction. So, wow, yeah, these are definitely reactive armors. Things are happening. So it seems like that's the structure for all of these. They have a certain number of times they can be used per day, and they have a trigger. So with Fiery Heart, you get 3 per day uses, and whenever you or a friendly being within 10 feet of you gets the charm condition, is the trigger, and then if activated when a friendly being gets charmed, you take the charm condition instead of that being. So for the duration of the charm condition, that being that inflicted the condition takes 1d10 damage at the start of each of their charms. So you're taking on the charmed, and you're damaging the person trying to charm, or creature trying to charm. So awesome. Yeah, I like this notion of reactive armors. Very different. Haven't really seen that before. And it's $4.99, and you get to check out the whole thing. So, find Reactive Armors in the link description below and click on it and check it out. Skeletons, 50 plus new skeletons for 5e at a pay what you want price of $2.99. So let's see how many pages it is. It's 49. All right, so 49 pages, so about a page of skeleton, which is nice. So every elemental damage type gets a skeleton, so you can tailor your dungeons. So you want a fiery volcano dungeon, you've got skeletons for that. Elix Doom, you've got skeletons for that. You've got roles and monster groups, so each skeleton is assigned a role in combat to let you know its purpose in a fight. And then you've got some sample adventures, so that's cool. So you can see here the Frostlight Gazer, Frostlight Doomweaver. I love these compilations that kind of just give you like all the different variations of a particular monster, because it gets old, the same skeleton over and over and over again, right? Let's mix it up. Let's have a Frostlight Gazer, which is a huddled skeleton wrapped in rags. Its eyes shine with blue light, promising a cold doom. And then under actions, you can see it has a freezing gaze. So it kind of stays with that theme. And then all kinds of other options here. You got a string skeleton, that sounds fun. A strange skeleton slides across the ground towards you, frozen in a standing pose. Its appearance doesn't change no matter how you shift, like it was a two-dimensional picture kept facing directly towards your perspective. As it gets close, you can see it's composed of tiny threads that squirm. Okay, so it's very much a striker, according to this, instead of a minion like this guy over here. And it's got a string body. The skeleton is an intelligent collection of string particles. They can vibrate and fold as needed. If the skeleton is subjected to an effect that allows it to make a saving throw to take only half damage, and instead takes no damage if it succeeds on the saving throw, and only half damage if it fails. So that's cool. It's kind of tweaking the wording of saving throw attacks. And then there's a lot of actions for this one. So this one's got a lot more involved skeletons. So you've got some skeletons that just have like a minor tweak, and then you've got skeletons that have a lot of actions. So, it seems like the CRs are ranging from 1 all the way up to, to this one's also still a 2. But let's look inside. Maybe there's some higher level ones, and you get to see 48 pages. So that's the whole thing again, right? And then here's a whole adventure in here they've got. Very cool. So we'll just read some of the flavor text on this adventure. A cold, dark stone room. The walls are lined with brutal niches, obscured with cobwebs and ice. Runes are carved into the ceiling, shedding a faint blue light and illuminating the room. A wrought iron portcullis blocks the way forward. In the center of the room are 2 waist-high platforms. One platform has a carving of a winter wolf built into it and is slightly lower to the ground. The other platform is empty and slightly higher. So, cool descriptions. But yeah, tons of skeletons. Cool Halloween colors to it. This will be a fun one also to run for Halloween stuff. I'm seeing some challenge level 5 and 3 here, so you're getting different challenge levels with these skeletons. Be fun to kind of mix it up for your party and be like, oh yeah, it's another skeleton, let's take it. And then they get into it and they realize, no, this is not your everyday skeleton. This is, and here's a challenge level 6. Yeah, very cool. Love this. I think that's a good selling point, that you've got different challenge ratings, Taylor Seeley writes, so maybe update your description and say, ranging from challenge rating 2 or 1 to 6. I saw at least 1 to 6, so maybe advertise that. I think people would like to hear that, because this product looks really cool. I definitely would be interested. It's got a good price, and it's a pay what you want, so you could even pay lower, but definitely pay something, guys. Support these creators. Look for skeletons in the video description and click the link. Next we have Send Deathrock's Spells of the Hells Volume 1 by Send Deathrock for $4.99, 17 pages. The 9 realms of eternal torment that are feared and dreaded by beings throughout the material plane and beyond. Though within the depths of damnation lie many ancient secrets, dangerous and dark, that have eluded even the most practiced diabolists and demonologists, the profane magic of the 9 hells has remained closely guarded until now. So Send Deathrock, a son of Asmodeus and the heavy metal bard himself, has audaciously traversed all 9 planes and compiled information about the hell's esoteric, unholy magic in several handy volumes, the first of which is ready to share to the world. All spellcasters will find new power within this tome. Just be sure to use it wisely. Combat the King of Hell's forces with their own spells and fight the fire, as it were. So 60 new spells, a variety of infernal spells from cantrips all the way to the 9th level, themed around fiends. Spells inspired by rock and metal culture. Spells inspired by iconic rock and metal bands like AC/DC, Death Clock, Dragon Force, and Megadeth. Reworks of the Crown of Madness and pyrotechnic spells. So nice. So it's got this sort of heavy metal feel. It reminds me, we had a product, I think it was last week, where it was like these giants playing rock band stuff at like a festival. So you could combine this with that and just really give it that rock feel if you're into that. So let's look inside, and you get to see all 17 pages again. Very nice. So you get to look at all these spells, and very nicely organized and laid out here. So let's look at Condemn. 3rd level enchantment. You condemn a creature that you can see within range, causing it to bear the burden of its sins. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be affected for the spell's duration. While the target is condemned, you deal an additional 2d6 necrotic or radiant damage, your choice, to it whenever you hit it with an attack. The target also has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and its movement speed is halved. At the end of each of the target's turns, it can repeat the saving throw, ending the spell on a success. If the target is reduced to 0 hit points before the spell ends, you can use your reaction to condemn a different target within range. So, very cool. Fun little spell. But yeah, there's a lot of them here. We'll find a different one here. That one's pretty cool. Ruinous Volley. Bolts of destructive power surge from your body, raining down upon a 30-foot diameter, 60-foot tall cylindrical area that you can see within range. Each creature within that area must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 48 necrotic damage and 48 thunder damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. After a failed save, a creature's AC is reduced by 2, and it has disadvantage on all saving throws it makes for 1 minute. An affected creature can make a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the spell on its success. And then it's got a higher level options. I like the dual damage types on some of these, and I heard somebody the other day saying, there's not enough spells that have thunder damage, so there you go. There's one with thunder damage. So yeah, cool options here. If you need some spells, list the classes that are available. So something for everyone in here, and really no excuse not to check it out when you can see the entire book in the preview. So look for Send Deathrocks in the video description and take a look. Next we have Van Richten's Treatise on Lycanthropy, which has new lycanthropes, rules, and player options. It's already a best Electrum seller. I mean, it just came out. That's astonishing, but I understand why, because Wizards really has not touched lycanthropes much in this edition of the game, and you've got Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft that came out, which is very much associated with all things monster, right, and werewolves and were-things being part of that. So I would definitely recommend looking at this if you're playing in Ravenloft, because you can probably work in some of these lycanthropes. It's already got 4 or 5 star ratings, because the average rating is 5. It's from Wyatt Troll, Val Serene, Laura Hirschbrunner, and Steve Fiddler, $14.95 for 154 pages on lycanthropes. I mean, this is definitely a rich resource if you need some lycanthropy in your game or in life. It says, Werebeast Beware. This book revolutionized the Werebeast curse like never before. It contains the following additions to Gothic Horror's Greatest Beasts. So you got Van Richten's notes. The supplement includes an in-game guide to lycanthropy written by the esteemed monster hunter Rudolf Van Richten. It can be directly given to your players or found by the characters without worry about metagaming or spoilers. So he's still fallible as a character, though. So even though you're giving that out, it may not be 100% accurate. And there's new rules for lycanthropy. So there's no messy rules anymore. You got clear instructions on how the affliction is spread and cured and how it affects the victims. This is just fun. I gotta get this. New player options. Was your character infected with lycanthropy or born with the affliction? So there's an ancestry option, 5 racial feats, and then werebeast phenotypes. Face the ravenous were-crocodile or battle the dreaded were-walrus. You can't go wrong with that. 6 new lycanthrope phenotypes, in addition to the were-bat and were-raven of the other official sources. You have were-cats, were-crocodiles, were-foxes, were-hyenas, were-serpents, were-sharks, and of course were-walruses. 30 different variant stat blocks for your werewolves, so you can have alphas, masterminds, all that stuff. New items, 5 new magic items. So cool. Yeah, I was a fan of that show Teen Wolf, so this kind of reminds me of that with the alphas here. So let's look inside. So you can see lots of content. Very, very cool overview of lycanthropy. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, so it says every lycanthrope has a particular anathema, an herb or chemical that proves fatal when ingested, even in small doses. Anathemas are determined by a lycanthrope's phenotype. So you got all the phenotypes here. Yeah, so you get to see 20 pages, so that's quite a bit. And you can see the little strips of Van Richten telling you stuff here as well. Yeah, I think this is a must buy. It's got all this stuff that you really need if you ever want to have any kind of lycanthrope in your game. I mean, Wizards really has not delved into that. But this book, I mean, becoming an Electrum bestseller already in the first week, I mean, it tells you how badly people need this. So, I would definitely encourage you to get in here, read through the preview, and consider getting this so that you can bring lycanthropes to your game. I mean, who doesn't need that? Even just to have one. It doesn't have to be Ravenloft. It can be, maybe you just have a random wereshark, or for your maritime campaign, or you have a were-tiger for your jungle campaign, or even just a normal werebear, just as something different. Mix it up. Keep your players guessing. Keep them wanting to come back to your table. Players have options, right? They can go join a number of different tables, even especially with Zoom and online options. Mix it up so that they number one, don't know what to expect and don't get sort of set in their ways, but number two, so that they want to keep playing with you as opposed to joining any number of other groups. So this could be a really good option for DMs looking to shake things up, fill in where Wizards has maybe left the field wide open, and just add a lot of flavor to their game. So I definitely want a copy of this, and I think it's doing really well. It's Electrum bestseller. You don't see that. We've done so many episodes of this. I think this is the first title that's reached that in its first week, and that's a lot of copies, because you start at copper and then you go to silver, gold, etc., all the way up. So Electrum's pretty high up there in terms of number of copies sold, because copper is 50. So you can only imagine what it is by the time you get to Electrum. So Very cool. So that's the last DM's Guild title this week. We're going to move on to DriveThruRPG, but before we do, please follow us on Twitter at Splinterverse, or any site. We're on Facebook, everywhere. YouTube, obviously, under Splinterverse. Please subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Like the video, leave a comment, share the video. It'll help all these creators, help us. If you're so kind and in the mood, please consider purchasing one of our books, either Potions Unlocked, which is print on demand, as well as digital. You can get that on DriveThruRPG, or Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which is only $2.99. Or not Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. That's not my book. Van Richten's Librum of Lineages for $2.99 on DM's Guild as well. It's linked in the description as well below, and it helps support me, the channel, and of course we've got all the great links down there that when you click on those and buy anything, it's going to help the channel, help these creators, but hopefully you'll buy a lot of the books you've seen today to support these great works and the channel at the same time. Our first DriveThruRPG title this week is for Mork Borg. It's called 500 Paces. It's from Huzzah, and Cody Lee is the author. It is compatible with OSR. You know, Mork Borg is one of those. It's already got 2 5-star ratings in its first week here. Says you have awoken from the battle of the night before perhaps you slept, but there is no respite to be found here. The fog surrounds you, mud clings to your boots like hands dragging a man to his death. Inhuman cries echo into the mist at your back. You have to press forward up to the keep, up to salvation, up the 500 paces. It's a very cool little intro cinematic feel to that. It's an 18-page adventure from Mork Borg that can be used for 3 to 4 players. It should take approximately 2 to 3 hours depending on playstyle. Includes a short form adventure, 2 new adversaries, and multiple player theme or player determined outcomes. So Earl of Fife games involved in this as well. So very cool. The collector here says, roll a d6 each round a collector is in play. On a 6, the collector will cry out with the human shrieks. Anyone looking directly at the collector will see inside its maw and bear witness to the maelstrom of souls within. Cool. Creepy. I like that. Let's look inside. Cool art on the front. Very moody. Feels very Mork Borg. So I like that. And then you got a nice little table of contents leading you into this. This is the fog does not lift, its misty oppression settling uncomfortably on your shoulders. Each step is heavier than your last, your tired legs dragging mud-covered boots through the fog. Hundreds died here, and those that survived have all lost a piece of their respective soul. But surviving the battle does not mean leaving the field. Shapes misshapen and unfamiliar move in the murk. Friend, foe. By the time you know, it may already be too late. So it's got that moody, dark kind of feel, which is so nice. You know, if you're playing Ravenloft or you just like that moody darkness, Mork Borg has a lot of that because it's kind of a darker setting. So this definitely has captured the feel of Mork Borg, which I think is important if you're going to be a Mork Borg compatible module, right? So says, what is dead? The PCs awaken on muddy earth surrounded by crumbling walls. Each of them remembers their past and some aspects of the battle, but do not recall when they lost consciousness. PCs can be on either side of the conflict for any reason, serving their country, serving as mercenaries, or simply caught in the middle of a siege. It is easier to manage a party that all served on the same side, but opposing warriors forced to work together can create new and dynamic party interactions. It is up to the GM and players to decide what works best. So maybe these characters are actually dead. I don't know, but it says what is dead. But I like this, how it's set up here, and having a battle and dealing with the aftermath of it. And this collector thing seems really kind of creepy too. So it says if the PCs linger too long in the area, James can introduce the collector. So that would be this, with this creepy stuff going on. So check it out. You know, Mork Borg is getting more and more popular as an OSR option. So I would look for 500 Paces in the video link descriptions down below and give it a click. Okay, Akashic Tales, Relics of Atlantis by James Ray and Azoth Games. $3.50 for 27 pages, and it's for Pathfinder First Edition. It says, for those with the ability and desire, there are many mysteries that can be uncovered within the infinities of the Akashic records, paths to power, answers to forbidden questions, and even simple stories. Among these stories is the legend of the drowned island Atlantis. The book includes Relics of Atlantis Veil Set, the Demagogue of Voice Veil using True Namer Archetype, the Orichalcum Smith, Orichalcum Smith, I don't know. There's always one that I can't say, guys, in every video. A constellation, I can't even say that now. A constellation using Machine Smith Archetype, bonus content for Spears Power support for Machine Smith. So yes, Spheres of Power is pretty popular. So that's cool, they've got support for that. You get to see 3 of the 27 pages. So there's some information welcoming you, and then getting right into some of the relics here. So we'll look at one of these. False Attribution, descriptors mind affecting, class Fisher King, slot voice, saving throws, will. And it says, shaping this veil allows you to weave a pedantic tone into your words, which makes them seem so boring and academic that they must be true. This veil grants you a +2 morale bonus to bluff checks. In addition, you gain a +1 morale bonus to knowledge, and can use the skill untrained. For each point of essence invested in this veil, the morale bonuses to bluff and knowledge increase by 1. By binding this veil to your voice chakra, a number of times per day equal to 3 plus your veil weaving modifier, you can grant your lies the weight of academic truth, okay? And then if you fail a bluff check to deceive or lie, as an immediate action, you can take a point of essence burn to re-roll the check, and you can use your knowledge history skill bonus in place of your bluff bonus on the second roll. You must take the result of the second roll, however. So, kind of a cool relic that helps you seem very truthful. And then they've got some other ones here. So yeah, if you're looking for some Akashic stuff, I always like the Akashic record notion. It's an interesting one. And you're looking for some Pathfinder stuff, I would check out Akashic Tales on DriveThruRPG. Next we have Ambition and Avarice 2, or the second edition by Chubby Funster and author Greg Christopher. And you can buy a PDF or a hardcover or a combo of them. PDF is $15. It's 374 pages. So it's an action-adventure role-playing game with an easy-to-understand OSR chassis. So it's based on OSR. So presumably it's compatible with other OSR stuff. It maintains focus on character classes and races that walk the line of respectability. It's got simple OSR-style resolution mechanics, 10 races from the Dark Elf all the way to the Orc, 12 classes from Brigand to Zealot, more powerful low-level magic users, pre-built backpacks to grab off the shelf for quick character creation, most comprehensive medieval fantasy equipment chapter in RPG history. I checked, he says. Monster trophies to take after the battle. Catalyst, a spell component system that is actually fun to use. I'm interested in that for sure. Clear and useful rules for hex crawling, managing retainers, and building your own barony. Complete customizable cosmology system. 596 spells, a mix of old favorites and reimagined ones. NPC design system mixing reaction rolls and attitude. A dungeon familiarity mechanic to allow players to gather information before going down the steps. That is so good. I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you be able to learn about a place before you go? I mean, yes, you don't have internet necessarily in Ravenloft, but why not be able to at least get more information than you usually get? A full bestiary of 182 monsters, including formula for creating your own twisted undead, and a treasure chapter with magic item creation information. So there's a lot packed in this. I definitely want to get this. It's a fun one from what I can read so far. So let's take a look inside. So you get to see 11 of the 374 pages. So you can see kind of character creation, rules of play, magic, bestiary. This is the full thing. This is like a player's guide and Dungeon Master's guide all in one. So yeah, definitely take a look at this. So we'll see if we can find something in here that we can read for you. It says this book is not about a specific game world, however it does describe many elements of the game world through illusion. It tells you what kind of things to expect, but not exactly how they will work in your judge's particular game world. It creates a template for a reality, but not a definitive design for it. So you can weave this into whatever setting you want, it seems like. Full monster descriptions are provided, however the judge is not limited to just those monsters. They may use an entirely new set of monsters in their game world, but it does provide a common starting point and defines certain standardization abilities. So it has architecture in the form of a stat block that allows you to know what to expect, and to make it easier for the judge to make their own monsters. They can make a skeleton description and create their own Bone Man monster that works like a skeleton in most respects, but has unique abilities that you don't know beforehand. So very interested in their monster creation stuff, dungeon information stuff, and the spells. I mean, there's just a lot here, guys. And you can get a print on demand, which is, there aren't that many print on demand titles. So I think this is definitely one to check out if you're into OSR, or even just want some inspiration for your 5e. So look for Ambition and Avarice in the links in the video description. Next we have Dangerous Devices and Mutagens, or Dangerous Devices Mutagens, because it's a deck, and they have several in the series. We picked one of those. They released several this week. It's on sale for $8.50, 54 pages. It's a collection of decks filled with a variety of explosive and dangerous devices. 200 different explosives, mixtures, mutagens, and trapped explosives for 5th edition. It's got 50 beautifully illustrated cards in each of the decks, and so yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can give the adventurers a variety of explosives to use, or you can use them, with your enemies, and it adds some sort of science and technology. There's no full preview, but we can look at the mini preview here. So you've got the front and back of each card, so that you can print them yourself. Some nice artwork, it looks like. I wish that we could see at least one card. So if you're watching Deep Dungeon games, maybe add even just one card here as an image, so we can see like the full text of a card and the art. Because I'd love to read that, in these kind of videos. But at least you guys get to see kind of the cool art and all of that stuff surrounding it. So yeah, if you're in the mood for some explosives, check out this on DriveThru. Next we have Adventure Bundles presents Demiplane of the Young Lich. It's level 7. I like that they have all this down here, this little symbology showing, how much exploration, combat, and roleplay. That's a really cool thing. I wish more modules would do that. It's a pay what you want price with a suggested price of 0. I would pay something, but it's here at 0 if you want it at that, I guess. Adventure Bundles, 17 pages here. Hubris, Blasphemous Experiments, Fall from Magic. Experience the realm of 𝘏𝙤𝙤𝙦, an ancient wizard who went too far in trying to understand the sources of magic. The party travels in the demiplane of 𝘏𝙤𝙤𝙦, uncovers his blasphemous research, meets his imprisoned subjects, explores his maze of gems, and eventually fights him to loot his treasure and end his research. It's the second adventure released by them, and you get, I think they released 2 this week, so this may be the second one this week, but you get the printable PDF, you get 3 items on cards, so very cool. And again, I love what they're doing with this exploration system. I wonder if other creators can use that, or if it's exclusive to them. Either way, I absolutely love that. And very nice art here on the cover, nice style, very good for a new company here. So you got the wizard style layout in here. You got your flavor text. Very cool. Yeah, so it looks like a well laid out adventure. You've got your monsters at the end. And then of course your magic items. So we'll read one of the magic items and some of the flavor text. So Staff of the Void Plane. If attuned, the nails of the wielder grow 10 centimeters. This effect can be removed by remove curse or wish spell. The staff has 10 charges and regains 1 charge daily at dawn. There is 50% chance that the staff withers away if the last charge is expended. The attuned can spend charges as an action to cast the following spells: Chill Touch, Cause Fear, and Blight. And it has different charges for each of those. Looks cool too. Got some nice custom art for their items. So we'll read one of the flavor text, and look at that nice map they've got. Alright, arrival. You find yourselves in a stone room, almost a platform of sorts. Looking up, you see a vast vacuum. Although there are stone walls that enclose this platform, there is no ceiling, just black emptiness above. On one side there is a corridor that curves and twists, leading to other corridors. You get dizzy sensation by looking at it, almost as if it's out of place, magical and unreal. On the opposite side there are 4 iron structures depicting bowls. Behind them, something that looks like a gate, but with no visible keyhole, hinges on anything that defines a door. Finally, several stone statues in various, mostly fighting positions occupy random spots on the floor. So, already a puzzle right when they start, because this is the portal room, right? And I like that. So, cool puzzle. This map is really nice. I think they're off to a really good start. This is, only their second adventure. I think they published both of them this week. So I'm excited to see where Adventure Bundles goes next. And look for Dimmy playing of the Young Lich in the video description to click the link. Next we have Luke Gygax's World of Okorum, the Eye of Chintify, an adventure for 6 to 8 levels by Luke Gygax and Matt Everhart. So the Gygax name is very familiar, right? From the creation of Dungeons and Dragons. So some history there. It's on sale. It looks like it's normally $14.95, but it's only $4. So this might be a good time to get this before that price goes up. And it's 36 pages. Pelicos Red has hired your party to help him locate the Oculus of Sinraba, a mysterious relic of the 𝙎𝙤𝙬𝙧 Empire. Your investigations lead you to the Grand Library, where you are ambushed by the Sacred Sisterhood of Mazuzah. After their attack, you discover a hidden vault sequestered deep below the library, protected by a powerful sisterhood and undisturbed for an age. And that is just the first chapter of this spellbinding edge-of-your-seat adventure. This beautifully illustrated module is guaranteed to provide hours of fun while exploring the mysteries and facing the dangers of the enigmatic lands known as Okorum. So, cool intro there. And this gorgeous art on the front, I love it. And even the typography they're using, I find very, very interesting. It's almost like an evil Aladdin, kind of genie here, which is really nice. And it's a 6 to 8 level adventure. So you got the introduction, and then all about the world here. So background on Okorum, adventure synopsis, and then history of the eye. So you get to see 7 of the 36 pages. So it says the Oculus of Sinraba is one of 4 ancient and powerful relics used centuries ago by the 𝙎𝙤𝙬𝙧 Empire to grant them control over the 4 elements, in a similar but more powerful manner to the Xenox of Chitify today. As the Empire of 𝙎𝙤𝙬 crumbled, the artifacts were eventually lost and spread to the winds across Okorum. So, cool relic background. Again, reminds me of like maybe the Mummy, or kind of this feel of the desert and genie stuff, right? It says adventure synopsis: a human named Pelicos Red hires the adventurers, to locate the relic. Searching for the device involves some significant detective work and leads them to the Grand Library in the Temple District. While at the library, they are ambushed, and then they uncover a hidden vault. So, very cool little outline here of all the fun that awaits you, and then you've even got a history of the eye, so you can even, after this, continue using this relic. So I think they've done a really great job of giving you this feel, this otherworldly feel of, desert, Arabian-style adventure, relics, hunting for relics. So you get a little bit of Indiana Jones, you get a little bit of the Mummy, and you can make it whatever you want. You can use kind of the setting that they've got, here, the world of Okorum, or not. And I like that. I like when you have these options, and especially, areas, like these desert areas. You don't get a lot of desert focused stuff, right? So a little bit more about the world of Ikorum. Eons past, Ikorum was crisscrossed with waterways and rich with flora and fauna. It was a land replete with resources, but one culture prospered more than others. Through the systemic conquest and assimilation of neighboring peoples and their lands, the Empire of 𝘏𝙫 was born. So you've got this kind of empire behind all of this stuff. So great way to introduce this world to your players. You know, they need to already be 6th to 8th level, but that's okay. You know, maybe they end up in this area, you know, facing these genie style villains. You know, you got the relics. I think there's a lot here that's fun and different. You know, and the art is really, really beautiful. So I recommend checking this one out. Click the link in the video description under Eye of Chintifi and have fun. Next we've got Fiendish Friends, designed for use with old school essentials. I love this art. Very interesting style. Reminds me of like some paintings of dogs playing poker. That kind of similar painting style, which is cool. And it's from Grimsby Dog Hollow. Appropriate name for this. $5 for 24 pages. And it's obviously for OSR. It says you'll find rules for playing as monsters. These aren't civilized monsters, mind you. They haven't been declawed or made more sympathetic than those loathsome beasts you love and know. Of course, how you play them is up to you, but if you ever wanted to play as a goblin, troll, orc, or ghoul in all their weird and creepy glory, then this is for you. As much as possible, I've tried to be consistent with the entries found in the old school essentials, it says. You know, balance is not the most important when playing an ogre, it says, but strength of certain monsters has been paired with significant weaknesses and difficult experience curves. So kobolds are pitifully underpowered, but that's half the fun. So you've got BX style racial rules for dark creepers, deep ones, ghouls, goblins, etc. Compressed version for fast loading and uncompressed version files, nice. And they're using vintage Weird Tales magazine covers. So that's why the art has that cool look. And that's fun. I like that. Now, and this is like kind of an opposing take on what we saw earlier with the Bugbear's book on DM's Guild, where they're making the monsters friendly. This is making them still be evil, but I guess it can be good too, since, you know, you're playing as them. Because it does say monsters go adventuring too. Within the supplement, you find rules for playing as monsters. So that's good. You get to play as the monster. So you've got the Dark Creeper, and it's got information on it. It says adept thieves with a knack for sniffing out magical items. Dark Creepers are 4 foot tall and have translucent pale skin. Their bodies are starved and emaciated, but almost none of their flesh is visible under their dark cloaks, which conceal their entire frame. They draw nutrients by sapping magical energy from equipment and quite literally devouring light. Owing to their strange diet, they have unstable bodies which explode spectacularly upon death. So very cool. Deep One, blasphemous hybrids of fish and men spawned in forgotten eons by creeping gods. Deep Ones exist in various states of transition, and many who live among human society don't realize what they are until adulthood, as they age and develop a look. Deep Ones are biologically immortal, and their powers grow over time. Very cool. So you got this kind of creepy stuff, and again, they're using all this art from this old magazine that's in the public domain. So Weird Tales, I think it is. So yeah, check it out. Enjoy this kind of old school art, different takes on monsters. Maybe there's something you can combine here with that other book. You know, maybe make them playable. Maybe have a player character be the main character in one of the Bugbear's adventures. But keeping in mind, monsters are not always bad guys. So that's the important message for the day. And it's under Fiendish Friends in the video description. Next, we've got Folklore, Creatures of Myth and Legend for 5th edition from D6 Games, $20 at 85 pages, a compendium of 5th edition monsters based on real-world folklore, urban legends, and Lovecraftian horror. So, we need some new monsters. This could be a good option. So, 6 of the 85 pages here. So, you get to see the table of contents. So, this lists all of them. So, you got the Gray Man, Madagot, variations on the Madagot, Oracle, Knucklevy. So lots of unusual names. Aliens. So aliens is the first one. So you've got a gray alien with all the stats. So this could be used, in a modern game, or even, have it show up in the fantasy world here. So it says aliens are extraterrestrial creatures that inhabit the vast vacuums of space far beyond the Earth. Aliens are extremely intelligent and empathic creatures who see humankind as famously flawed and primitive version. So very cool. So the aliens looked pretty fun and, had a nice layout. So I'm assuming the rest of the 50 monsters have similar nice layouts and some great artwork from what I could see. So if you're looking for some new creatures, check out Folklore on DriveThruRPG. Up next we have Freya's Tears, Wandering the True Norse, Svilland adventure for 1 to 20 level for 46 players. So that's a huge range of 1 to 20, so that's cool that they've got that. But it's 284 pages, so I could see where you could go from 1 to 20 with a book that large. You've got it on sale right now for $23.99 as opposed to normally $28.99 from Dream Realm Storytellers. It says Freya's Tears is designed for a warband of 4 to 6 first level characters. It's a 5th edition adventure that begins in a small town and ends in the darkest pits of Helheim. By the end of the adventure, the character should be 20th level. As the adventure takes place in a brutal Norse setting, it contains graphic and gory components. It's meant for mature audiences, obviously. Everything you need to run the adventure is given in the book, including monsters, NPCs, magic items, spells, and other things of the same sort. You can also, there's another, Svilland campaign setting book you can get, but you don't need it apparently to play this. It takes place in Svilland, begins near a lake called Freya's Tear in Alsvatar, moves on to the northwest of Svilland, Gerbelroom, and ends in the depths of Helheim. The adventurers wander around the map, discover many areas, and face many dangers, including monsters, social conflicts, harsh weather conditions, and wars. And there's an animation trailer you can watch, which is pretty cool. And then look at the stunning art and layout. I mean, very, very cool. It's super professional. Probably could not really expect much more, from the art. I mean, look at how stunning this is. I don't think we can zoom in. Let's see if we can open it in a new tab if it's any bigger. No, it's the same size. So can't really zoom in to read any of this to you, but you can tell it's gorgeous. So hopefully it's enough to get your interest and get you to come check it out. I mean, I love this map. Really beautiful. Nice way of laying out the stat blocks over here. Very creative. Everything that I can see, and lots of art. They're not skimping on the art here. And you don't see many books that'll take you from the 1st to the 20th level, and 284 pages, especially pages that look like this, are going to be worth looking at. So look for Freya's Tears in the links in the video description and check it out for yourself on DriveThruRPG. Next we have The Heist of the Mad King's Jewel from Mad Mage Games for $24.99 for 306 pages, so that's a lot as well. It's a novel take on the tabletop RPG formula, is compatible with 5e, and places its ideas in an overcrowded steampunk city brimming with class, ethnic, and interpersonal tensions. Big ideas, strong personalities, and rival interests class J.L.E. and Moscopolis, the jewel of the far north, seeking to establish dominance over the city. Players are thrust into this environment and tasked to rob a bank. There's only one catch. It's one of the most secure places conceived by man or gnome alike. Players will be spicing up the already boiling cauldron that is Moscopolis with their own brand of chaos. So it says a unique story in a rarely seen genre, a steampunk heist campaign with a heavy focus on stealth preparations and intel gathering. Yeah, so it's not a normal combo that you see, heists and steampunk. It says a plethora of side quests and new exciting subclasses. So there's some suggestions on how to adapt existing classes, and then there's some new subclasses for the rogue and bard. Then you've got magic and non-magic items, new feats, backgrounds, large and complex final dungeon, and culminates in a bank robbery at the end, supporting multiple playstyles from slipping in and out without ever being seen to running in guns blazing. And then there's a grand escape after that. You can form a group of specialists, kind of like a Ocean's 11 situation or Mission Impossible. There's planning, planning, planning. You definitely want to plan before you prepare for the heist. So you may need to gather information, bribe officials, find allies, or not. And then there's NPCs, political intrigue, living, breathing city, incredible artwork, setting open for expansion, and then there's plague and disease because the hygiene in the city's lower levels is not the best, and additional activities and mini games within it. And look at that. It's good art, and then they have a nice little trailer or something here that you can watch. Doesn't give us the title. Yeah, you definitely should come back and at least check out the video. But let's look inside. Love this art. You can see kind of this team of people working together from all walks of life to heist the Mad King's jewel. You get to see 9 of the 306 pages. So you got lore, information on religion and sort of Muscopolis and how it communicates, and then you've got hooks and side quests. And then of course the main adventure, and then your appendices with items, locations, stat blocks, all that stuff. So yeah, it looks very, very nice. Enjoying the look and layout of this quite a bit. Just even the setting, I mean, it sounds like a fun setting. So even if you're not interested in the heist adventure, you could get some subclasses and, you know, some different things out of this. I mean, it says it's written for a party of 46 adventurers. That should take them from levels 4 to 9. So yeah, let's see what all we can find in here to read for you. Muscopolis, the jewel of the far north, has a storied history, one that is too long and intricate to summarize in a couple of pages. Yet, the gnomes of Muscopolis are very much to the point, liking their dealings brief and concrete. So we shall endeavor to present their history in as brief a fashion as possible, which they would most assuredly agree with. Muscopolis is, of course, a part of the wider world known by various names in many languages. The High Elves call it Eldorus, or Alder's Gift to the Elves. The name comes from the ancient creator deity of Ildar, who is now only worshipped by the High Elves, but the name stuck in all Elven languages. So this fits into Eldorus, and that's pretty cool. You got all this backstory, and I like how they even introduce it like we're going to be brief because gnomes like it that way. So even the intro is kind of thematic and in tone, and some good writing here. It says the shell of the old Muscopolis still stands. The various terraces on the mountainside, ruined as they may be, are still visible from the land surrounding it. Shepherds, hunters, and adventurers report seeing shadows in the ruins, ghastly shapes, the mere sight of which spreads terror in one's bones. So, very moody, cool feelings that you're getting here. And you can see kind of some flying ships and all very steampunk friendly fun. So, hey, if you like steampunk, if you like heists, if you want 306 pages of stuff, check out the Heist of the Mad King's Jewel under H in our links. Okay, next we have Old School Essentials official adventure scenario called Holy Mountain Shaker by Luca Regic and Necrotic Gnome, $7.50. It's already a copper seller, and it's compatible with BECMI Basic and of course OSR. And it's already got 3 5-star ratings, so can't beat that. Thunder and Quake have come to Old Town. Towers crumble, homes tumble, the quick become the dead. What omen could be more obvious? The pharaoh fish under the mountain is displeased. This god must be propitiated. Brave heroes must venture to buy the city's salvation. At the very least, the town council needs to appear in control and send some expert adventurers into the depths. A fantasy point crawl adventure for characters of 5th to 6th level. So there's a local town, 17 point crawl regions, dungeon inside the pharaoh fish, point crawl mechanics that you can use, keyed in a quick reference bullet point format, statted for old school essentials but usable with any vintage game. And there's an unlabeled map for VTT use, so that's nice. And then eventually there'll be a print version available as well, so you can get the print version of the book if you like it. So let's take a look inside. So you get to see 9 of the 48 pages. You got a nice little timeline here, and entering the mountain. So you got all the info on entering. Oh, small treasures table. We'll read some of that in a minute. And then the mechanics of point crawl adventuring. I want to read some of that as well because I'm not familiar with point crawl. Then you got your mountain creatures. So you're getting to see a decent amount here in just these 9 pages. So as much as packed in these 9 pages, I can only imagine what awaits you in the full 48 here. You've got cool little area path here down here, and you can see some interesting descriptions here. So entrance A, the Holy Three Spring, it says hauntingly beautiful glade with swaying pines, scarred mountainside blasted open, yawning gap, entrance to the mountain, and trickling stream from gap, crystal pool fed by a stream filled with rubble, dead fish, and glittering offerings. So that maybe that's what the points are, is each of these. So let's go back and look at the point thing, see if it tells us about that. Mechanics, point crawl adventuring. So sequence of play per watch. You decide an action, the players decide what to do this watch. The referee determines what obstacles the party faces. The referee describes the party's journey and obstacles encountered, asking players for their actions as required. If monsters are encountered, follow the procedure described. End of watch, the referee updates time records with attention to exploration resources, spell durations, and the party's need to rest. And then set up, the referee describes the next region or path available to the party. So it seems like it's, you're going along these points in your adventure, and they're describing those, but they're talking about the watch here. So the watch, it says, is a unit of time providing the point crawls a suitable sense of scale. 2 hours. Watches are used when the party explores, traverses, or bypasses. Okay, so that's cool. They've got this different way of doing things, but I'm sure you could choose not to use that and still get a lot of value out of this book. But I like that it gives you a new option. It might be a concise way to manage all the different pieces of what's going to happen to your party. And I do like how the varied the descriptions are for the areas. That's cool. But let's go back and look at the small treasures section. So they've got something you can roll on here or pick from. So there's pink wisp vials. Wisps drain magic and restore HP. If fed a prepared spell, they restore 1d4 plus the spell's level HP. Nice. Okay, that's a cool little thing where you can give them a prepared spell, and then the wisps provide some hit points. And then you've got the Golem Heart, a heavy metal battery storing a monocyanal copy of a Philosopher's Stone, powerful enough to activate any dead golem. Okay, so you might encounter some golems and activate those with that. Yeah, lots of fun stuff in here. Nicely laid out, easy to read, decent amount of art that looks good. So I would definitely recommend checking out Holy Mountain Shaker from Necrotic Gnome. Go to the links in the description and look under Holy, and you'll find it. And see what the fuss is about. It's already a best copper seller, so if you're into OSR, I'm sure this offers a lot for you. Next we have Iskandar City Sourcebook from MT Black. And MT Black is well known. He's an adept on the DM's Guild website and does a lot of good work. I've read some books by MT Black, and pretty cool. And this one is also already a best silver seller. I think this week the theme, there's always a theme, it's metals. A lot of stuff's already metaled this week. People must be really interested in playing this week because we're seeing a lot of stuff getting purchased. And please continue that. Help metal all of these by clicking the links below. Explore a wondrous new city in the sourcebook for the world's greatest role-playing game, Iskandar, City of Shining Spires, where merchants are masters and coin is king, but thieves and assassins rule the night, where gods and priests walk side by side, even as unspeakable wealth peers down upon crushing poverty, where guilds and great houses spar for political supremacy, while fiendish hordes muster just over the horizon. Iskandar, home to all that is wondrous, noble, and laudable, and to all that is lewd, wanton, and vile. So, very cool little intro to Iskandar from MT Black here. So you've got descriptions of the city, you get the settings, lore, all of this for 5th edition, of course. 3 new races in the Kith, Vargr, and Vatborn. 3 new subclasses. a new NPC generator, 100 city-based encounters, 19 detailed city locations, 18 character vignettes, 17 adventure seeds, and random tables to create taverns, ships, religious festivals, academies, guilds, and much more. I mean, it's packed, right, with lots of stuff at 112 pages for $4.95. I mean, that's a pretty good price. You know, if you divide the number of pages by the price, I mean, you're getting a lot of pages for the money there. So you can see kind of here the table of contents. So that's quite a lot of information, and look at this beautiful map of Iskandar. I love maps like that. And then here's 5 things to know. We'll read some of that in a minute. And then you've got the world of Iskandar. So it looks like an archipelago style world here with all these little islands. You know, Nimti Black is well known. He does a lot of, he or she, I'm not sure, or whatever pronoun, does a lot of stuff. And I've read Encounters in Avernus, which I really enjoyed, by M.T. Black, and I'm sure this is going to be of just as good a quality. So I'm excited. I definitely want to get this. Let's see what's inside. So, new wondrous city, and you got your cool little border going on. It's highly cosmopolitan. I like that. People from all over the world find their way to Iskandar, and the city is a real cultural melting pot. So mixing all the different races there, which is cool. And talks about the races some more here, and the history, and then the traits of the race. So yeah, you're going to see 25 of the 112 pages. That's a pretty generous preview. So you can see if you're interested in these archetypes. We're going to look at some of these in detail in just a second here. But yeah, nice generous preview. So let's pull up one of these abilities. So we've got the Blade Dancer, nimble misdirection. Your spectacular swordplay leaves opponents confused and vulnerable. As a bonus action, you can make a performance check against a creature you can see, contested by an insight check. If you succeed, you can use your sneak attack against that target, even if you don't have advantage on the attack roll, but not if you have disadvantage on it. This benefit lasts for 1 minute or until you successfully use this feature against a different target. I like that, and I like, but not if you have a disadvantage on it. You don't see that mechanic a lot where it says not if you have disadvantage. I mean, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen that, I think, ever, so I like that. And they've got something for the fighter here and the Cinderwood Knight, so very cool. And then this is a cleric domain for knight, it's called, with an N, not a KN, so it's a knight domain. You gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes, so that's the typical divine strike, of course. And then we've got Fall of Night. When you cast the darkness spell, the radius increases to 30 feet. When a creature enters the affected area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it takes 2d8 cold damage. The creature must also succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be restrained until the start of its next turn, frozen in place by terror. The creature automatically succeeds on this saving throw if it is immune to being frightened. So very thematic. You got the darkness creeping in because this is the night domain, right? So we're thinking darkness, and then you've got the cold of night worked in there, and then frozen in place. So MT Black did a good job kind of really honing in on that feeling of being under the cover of darkness and at night. And it's a cool whole night domain in here. I want to read the whole thing, but we're not gonna spoil it. You need to get the book or come over here and read it for yourself. But I did want to read some of the stuff down here about Iskandar as well. Especially famous for its marketplace, the Grand Bazaar. Let's see what else. Throbbing with sacred energy. In the world of Iskandar, everything possesses a spirit, a mystical energy that contains its essence and animates its being. Objects, places, creatures, even emotions and ideas all have their own spirit. The whole world throbs with sacred energy, and so the people of Iskandar recognize many gods. Nice. Yeah, I feel like this place is buzzing. There's a lot going on. Got great maps, great content. The subclasses we looked at were pretty cool, and that's just a bit of what's there. There's races, there's encounters, vignettes, adventure seeds, tables. I mean, and all from a well-known creator that I've enjoyed in the past from reading the full book, not just looking at stuff like this. So definitely look for Iskandar in the links below and check it out if you want to have some great 5th edition content. Next we have the Koryo Hall of Adventures, Adventurer's Guide to 𝘏𝙤𝙤, written by Orlaine Lane. It's Pathfinder compatible for Pathfinder 1st edition from Red Scales Publishing. And it says it's a complete fantasy campaign setting deeply inspired by the richness and beauty of Korean culture and history, set 300 years into the third age of 𝙦𝙤𝙢. The material plane, you will find yourself in 𝘏𝙤𝙢, the continent still emerging from the ashes of the winds of darkness, a time when dark creatures roamed the lands under the leadership of the 𝙏𝙤𝙀. Cool. It reminds me, if you've seen that Korean show on Netflix called The Kingdom, where there's like, it's set in a period in Korea's past and then there's these zombies, and it's pretty cool. So it kind of gives me that feel just reading it. May not have zombies, I don't know. May have zombies. But I really like this because it's making me think you could kind of play in that same setting if you like that show or haven't seen it. Check it out on Netflix. The Kingdom, it's called. But 272 pages. That's a good size for a campaign setting. $19.99 is the price point. It says the continent is still emerging from the ashes of the winds of darkness, a time when dark creatures roamed. We read that. It is just after the retaking of the lands of the Koryo Hall of Adventures, also known as the Hall, was created. It served a single purpose: to protect common people and clean the lands from evil creatures. As time passed and the world slowly became a safer place to live, the Hall had to find a long-lasting purpose and turned itself into a guild of sorts where anyone can go to find jobs and sometimes glory. The campaign setting is just a point of entry into the world of adventures. So you get a complete description of the Hall. You get a gazetteer that details the 4 different realms, get descriptions on different classes and creatures, 15 different agencies and factions, a new class, the Madang, and 2 new archetypes, an army of NPCs, new beasts, pantheon of up to 50 spirits, that's a lot, that's good, dozens of adventure triggers for you to go on fun adventures, and a new role to enhance the gaming experience, the reputation system. So it's separated into 2 main sections, the presentation of the world and the mechanics. And the first section can be used to play in any system, while the second section is focused on Pathfinder compatibility. You can find conversions for OSR. So nice, and so some links here for some free stuff, I think. So should come here just even for the free stuff. But let's look inside. Oh, nice art. Very cool. And, oh, yeah. Continues the art inside. Very, very nice. Like the table of contents, even, and the layout is nice and clean and gives you kind of a nice feel. So it says 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬 𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙀 is a rule among all the realms of 𝘏𝙤𝙢, prescribing that every creature that is part of an organized society of any size must be given access to educational tools to learn at least 3 cantrips from the wizard's spell list. Each organized society is free to choose how to make this happen, but it is the leader's responsibility to ensure that everyone gets equal access to that education. So lots of magic going on when everybody has cantrips, so that's nice. And then you've got the spirit. I like this art here. So 7-star spirit. It says the origin of the 7-star spirit is still up for debate. No one has formally been in contact with it for anything other than transportation. When Sanshin introduced the spirit to Yule during the Winds of Darkness, our exploration was simple. There are 7 connected gates in this world, and the spirit of 7 stars is their regent. Those who want to use them must stand within the confinement of the gate and ask to be sent to another gate in a prayer to the spirit. There are only 4 known gates right now, all of them noted in the gazetteer section of this book. The gates are a set of 7 pine trees forming a very rough circle in which firefly-like lights float around in a faint yellow glow. And then it gives the whole prayer that you can read. I like that. Lots of lore. And there's just fun stuff in here with the primordial beast. I love this layout and the text they've used. Yeah, I would enjoy reading this whole thing, I think. But you can see lots of stuff. All the different provinces laid out, options. So, if you're playing Pathfinder or you want to convert this to OSR or 5th edition, it seems like you can get conversions for that. But yeah, I like it. If you want a new campaign setting for Pathfinder, or maybe using these 5th edition or OSR, check this out, the Koryo Hall, in the links below. Next we have Morty Corgi's Acid Shanties by various authors: Matthew Dunn, Jeremy Schultz Arnold, Ryan Wilden, Sean McNamara for $4.95, 34 pages, 5th edition compatible. Ahoy and Avast! Morty Corgi continues his work in his Scroll of Mysteries by cataloging his time in the Acid Sea. In this new supplement for Pugmire, you can find a large variety of material offering new and exciting tools for players and guides alike. You'll find new families, nests, and callings, new backgrounds, new treasures, new locations, ships, and crew, new enemies and NPCs to populate your Pirates of Pugmire campaign. Very cool. So Pugmire is like anthropomorphic characters, with 5th edition rules. So obviously you need content for that if you're playing that. So very cool to see Pugmire in our channel. I think this might be the first or second time we've had Pugmire stuff. So very cool to see. I love this art and the layout. They've done a great job with this. Very cool. Yeah, I like this a lot. Looks fun. So, callings. In some of the old texts of man, there is a saying that goes, necessity is the mother of invention, and no one place more apt than on the acid seas below are several callings unique to these dangerous waters. They work alongside, in addition to many of the callings from Pugmire. So, there's divers, and merchants, trailblazers, peafowl, nests, so owls. Found throughout the acid sea, owls make their homes on many islands. Owls tend not to adhere to the gregarious ways of their fellow birds, preferring a solitary and curmudgeonly lifestyle. They tend to be twitchy, grouchy, and introspective. Some would call them strange and ephemeral for their tendency to talk to themselves. More devout dogs and particularly suspicious cats feel that owls have some insight into the methods and motivations of the unseen. Cool. So owls are always cool to have in your campaign. And look at these guys. We talked about animals playing poker earlier. It's kind of a similar look. So another theme for this week is animal stuff and monsters as good guys. So it says, acid seas are full of strange and wonderful sights that people of the mainland have never seen. New and exotic uplifted species, a daunting array of captivating locales, and a myriad of friend and foe await at the seasoned sailor and their expeditions. So lots of fun things to find in the seas here. So you get some nautical Pugmire stuff. Yeah, I don't know that there's anything else out there that's nautical and Pugmire, but I'm sure you could adapt some of this nautical stuff to a non-Pugmire setting too. Just pick through what you see here, because there's 34 pages for only $4.95, so quite a bit on offer here. And it's from Onyx Path, which puts out a lot of good stuff. So yeah, check it out. Look for Morty Corgis in the links below. Next we have Phantonomicon Press, Printable Pawns, A Quest to the Kobold Caves. It's $3.99, and it is basically a bunch of minis for you to use. So it says inspired by their dungeon adventures, fiction stories. It's miniatures and monsters based upon characters in that. And there's a hobgoblin shaman, kobolds, Thagren, polymorphed kobold forms, and giant toads. You can use them for simulation of the stories or just any game, really. So what I really liked about it, and one of the reasons I wanted to include this one, is that not only are you getting these little paper minis that you can create, but it's got colored and black and white versions, so you can customize the color. And then it's got a front and back view, which you don't always see. And then you can make T-frames or A-frames, or even cut them out. So I thought that was unique and interesting, worth sharing with you guys. So you got basically 3 different models. I don't know if we can make this any bigger. Let's see. No, it's the same size here, but you can see there's 3 different ways you can go about it. I like the A-frame from a stability standpoint. But T-frame, I'm sure, is stable too with the way the base is, but I'm just used to using these. Normally the other side, because I'm an old school guy. Back in the day we had them flipped kind of where this was the bottom, but still I like this. And yeah, it's really cool that there's a lot of different options in here. So check it out. Next we have QR code random room encounter table. Random drop die like, system neutral, non-balanced, dungeon fantasy room encounters useful for DM inspiration or solo games. So it's a one-page supplement, and you're basically looking at it. You basically scan these QR codes and get adventures going. So it's a pay what you want product at a recommended price of $1, but I mean here's the product. So you could scan a QR code and just kind of see what some of these are like. You could really see the whole product, but please pay something if you're going to use it all. But I think you should maybe just scan one, just kind of see if you like the content. And it's kind of like, dropping die on the table. Instead of, dropping die on the picture, you can scan the code instead when you drop the die on it. So I think it's a unique, interesting thing that I've never seen. So that's why I chose it for this video. Is I thought, let's show this to people, see something different. I think that's one of the benefits of this series. You get to see something different every week that you may not have noticed. So if you're interested in checking it out, QR code in the links below. And next we have a fantasy role-playing adventure module called Temple of 1000 Swords by Brad Kerr. It's designed for use with old school essentials, and it's 25 pages. What I like, though, right off the bat, from this, Sword Lords Publishing here, is that they've got a PDF for $5.99, and then you can get a book, a soft cover, for $9.99, or both for $9.99. So that's really nice. And it says an ancient temple to the forgotten god of swords lies hidden behind a waterfall. Great piles of swords choke its halls and spill out into nearby streams and waterways. What strangeness still treads, and what swords will you draw in the Temple of 1000 Swords? It's a tarot-inspired fantasy RPG dungeon delve for third-level characters. It's created for old-school essentials, BX, BECME, all that good stuff. And it's got a 19-room keyed dungeon, easily insertable into any fantasy campaign. D100 weird magic and cursed swords to discover. Roll to search the piles. Anything is a sword. Create weird sword creations using the temple's cursed magic. I like that a lot. New monsters, factions, spirits, and curses. And there's a high-resolution unlabeled VTT map. So that's cool. Look at that. Very, very nice. Yeah. These pictures of the real product is always nice to see. The print version. This is the print version. Hideous Delight is another product that you can check out. But I love the art style. It definitely goes well with OSR especially. So let's take a look inside. Yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. And yeah, just looking through, there's a lot of good material. Here's the searching for swords. We'll come back and look at that in a minute. And oh, nice isometric maps. Love isometric. Yeah, good balance of art to text. And the art style is really fun. So let's go back up here and look at the swords. Huge piles of swords are littered throughout the temple. A vast majority of these are rusted iron or rotting wood, but some swords are truly special. The Godforge of 𝙭is capable of transforming anything into a sword, and many bizarre creations are waiting to be discovered. Note that many of these swords are not functional as actual swords. So here's kind of a table of what was discovered, and then it says here, a PC who wishes to search a pile of swords may spend one turn and roll 1d6. Rolling a 1 results in a PC taking 1 point of damage as they injured themselves on the haphazardly scattered blades. Rolling a 5 or 6 means the PC has discovered an interesting roll, and then you roll D100 and consult the following table. So you can generate pretty much infinite stuff, it says here. So look at all these different options for the swords. I like that. Then we'll read some of the flavor text. So the Oyster Garden, a dark, flooded, and dripping cavern. The floor has been lowered to facilitate a large underwater cave kelp and oyster garden. A sudden drop-off will catch careless adventurers unaware. A giant octopus labors here, harvesting cave kelp and irritating the oysters to help with pearl production. She is surly and has a sword, but generally dislikes combat. A submerged tunnel concealed by darkness, water, and kelp leads to area T6. Nice. So very old school feeling. All kinds of fun stuff going on. I love this image. I don't know if this is a pile of swords or what, but looks like some some creatures trying to get away. Yeah, I think this would be fun to look at in print as well. So if you're in the mood for something cool and good price for print, especially to get a print book for $9.99. I mean, the print stuff is quite expensive to produce, so I can't imagine that they're making much on that price at all from a creator standpoint, because to print it was probably around that. But it's 25 pages, so maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they are making something. I'm thinking of my book, because my print on demand is 100 pages plus. So, but yeah, it's nice that they have a sale on it, because it is expensive to print these. So look for Temple of 1000 Swords. Check it out on DriveThruRPG. Next we have Thaumaturgic Codex, book number 3, 20 spells from Bloodstone Press, and it's 5th edition compatible at 13 pages. It's 20 unique spells, and they've appeared in other supplements, but a few have been gathered, and included are up to the 9th level, such as Abyssal Vortex, targets that make 3 saving throws against negative energy, acid, and mind, bending power of this 9th level spell. A Diaphanous Shift, become ghostly and transparent, gaining resistance to weapon damage with this 3rd level spell. Salty Wounds, inflict debilitating pain upon your injured foes. So some fun different options, and it's part of a bundle, so consider that, because for $3.96 you can get all 3 volumes of Thaumaturgic and Codex, as well as 34 magic items. This is only $1.49, but for a little bit more you can get 4 books, so that's cool. It's by 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙪 as well, is the name there. So let's look inside. So you can see 5 of the 13 pages. So you got the whole spell list, and let's read some of Arctic Essence here. You summon a formless azure cloud of energy from the elemental plane of ice that is 5 feet in diameter and lasts for the duration or until you cast the spell again. When you cast the spell, the cloud makes a melee attack against a creature within 5 feet of it. Using your melee spell attack roll, on a hit, the target takes cold damage equal to 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. It also must make a Constitution saving throw or gain 1 level of exhaustion, which fades when the spell ends. Creatures with resistance to cold have advantage on this saving throw, and those that are immune to cold damage are also immune to this exhaustion effect. As a bonus action on your turn, you can direct the cloud to move up to 20 feet and repeat the action against a creature within 5 feet of it, and then it's going to add a higher levels. So that's a fun spell, and there's a lot of them in this book, and like I said, you can get a bundle for a ton of spells. So if you're looking for some spells, check out Bloodstone Press's Thaumaturgic Codex, book 3, in the links below. So Chris Bissett has done this really cool cover for Treasures of the Troll King. It's compatible with Mork Borg, and it's from Loot the Room, $15, 36 pages. It says, Gallenbacchus palimpsest, Tumor, a city built on the ruins of itself. Beneath the sewers, the bones of the old city fester. The Troll King 𝙤𝙤𝙀 was exiled, driven into the depths to rot and die. Now twisted by hatred and rage, he oversees the small domain he has carved for himself in a forgotten chapel to a murdered god. Why are you here? A lost bet? A doomed quest for silver? Boredom? Does it even matter? So it's a Mork Borg adventure with the sewer crawl, by Chris Bissett and art by Joanne Knorr. And it's designed for 1 or 2 shot play. It takes place in 2 phases, a point crawl through the sewers beneath Galgenbeck in search of sunken chapel that houses 𝙤𝙤𝙀 the troll, and a location-based dungeon in the chapel itself. So there's a pile of forgotten wishes at the base of a wishing well. There's the Church of Forgotten Things, Finger Collector, who's a strange denizen of the sewers who trades in digits, and a forgotten god sealed inside the bells of the chapel begging for release. So, again, with Mork Borg, it's kind of the creepy, dark, twisted stuff, and, for OSR. But it says here that it's also system agnostic and 5th edition compatible, and it's from Loot the Room, who, I've enjoyed some of their past work, for sure, and Chris Bissett as well. So, I'm excited to see this one. And, yeah, already, the art is just fun. Joanne Knorr is doing some good stuff here as well. Yeah, look at this. I mean, really cool, visually stimulating, everything. I always enjoy looking through this kind of stuff. So let's zoom in so we can see, maybe read some of the text. Enter through the sewers down a trapdoor that goes deeper into the filth. The sewers are a stinking, sucking mess of fecal fluid. And who else? Who knows what else? Steams of filth run through everything, and even the small walkways are covered in poop. Finding your way to the chapel will be slow and arduous, and who knows what lurks in the dark, dripping spaces. So yes, lots of sewer stuff. And then there's treasures here, a D6 table of that. This ring of ornate keys opens locks and doors you can't see. There may be no coming back once you step through them. I like that. I like keys. A darkened glass vial containing powdered sunlight, worth a pretty penny to those who know its uses. Vampires and other undead monstrosities will give anything to see it destroyed. Very cool. It's just this little table. There's just so much packed into these results. I love it. Yeah, stolen wishes. Grant these wishes or live in a cursed life. You may never die, but neither will you hunger or thirst or joy or heal. You are obligated now, and simply putting the coins back where they came from won't be enough. So, something to do with wishes here. The person who made the wish can be found in here. They want. Very cool. A little table to put together some stolen wishes. I mean, just that alone would be fun reason to purchase this. And this gorgeous art. I love it. Good job, guys. Luther Room, Chris Bissett. All of you have got me excited to check this one out in detail. So look for Treasures of the Troll King in the links below. Next we have Villains, a collection of foes and their henchmen by Devin D. Dominicus and 𝙤𝙀𝙬𝙧𝙀 as the publisher. It's got 3 ratings at 5 stars already in its first week. It says a book of villains, their right-hand minions, the implements they wield, and suggestions for running them or villains like them in your campaign. So there's 3 villains, each at different stages of their villainous development, allowing you to place them comfortably in your campaign at any phase, or to inflict them upon your players throughout an extended storyline. Each villain is accompanied by a suggested backstory, notes on their development as characters, and some role-playing suggestions, and a bevy of possible villainous plans and motivations. So there's 9 villain stat blocks, custom magic items, 11 lieutenant and henchman stat blocks, colorful and villainous cover art. Yes, of course. So let's take a look. We can't see the full page, unfortunately, but we get to see one villain here. So Ectus, and yeah, it's got a nice layout. He's called the Protean, and then you got information on him. He's challenge level 6, I think. It's hard to read, maybe 8. And then you've got all the information about him. So yeah, I mean, who doesn't need more villains? Especially if your party goes away you didn't expect them to go, and maybe they're off the main storyline, and so you need a villain for the new kind of side story. So this book might be really good. It is 5th edition compatible, and looks like a lot of fun. And 38 pages of villains for $9. I mean, could get some good value out of that. And check it out in the video description. We've got links to all the titles, including this one. And again, if you click on any of those, you're going to help not only these creators but the channel, because we get, even if you buy something not in this week's video, well, after you've clicked on one of those links, you're going to be helping the channel out. And this is the last title for this week, so please subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and consider purchasing one of our books, Potions Unlocked, Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. Both of those are linked below. And please share the video and tell your friends about it. We want to expose as many of these creators as we can to new eyeballs, so they can keep producing this stuff. It is, a labor of love for a lot of these people. It's hard to make a profit doing this, so let's keep inspiring them, keep them going by supporting them, following them, all that good stuff. And speaking of following people, you can follow me everywhere at Splinterverse. And again, I have an interview with Dungeons and Dinners podcast on Twitter that you can listen to. If you go to my Twitter feed, it's in there, and it's a fun one. You get to learn more about me and my work on my books. So check that out. And until next time, happy adventuring.